Hello everybody and welcome to another exciting and creative episode of Guapish. Now, first, we have possibly author of the year, and by far, maybe the most creative guy. It depends on what we think later. Tanner.
Guys, with the recent attack on Venezuela and the subsequent shutting down of the cocaine trade, I don't know if I'm going to be able to write anymore.
Man, unfortunate future looking like for our boy Tanner here, but not so unfortunate. The man who's committed to his writing, it all comes straight from his heart. You got Nico.
Oh boy, guys, I can't wait to share all the erotica we wrote with each other.
Yeah, I'm not sure I track with that one. And lastly, we have the guy who just absolutely loves writing about his cats. You know, he wrote a short story about his cats last time. It was pretty kick-ass. We've got Jackson.
See, unfortunately, you saying that, Dylan, I am in fact a one-trick pony.
I mean, I think we'd prefer a one-trick cat, but we'll take it where we can get it. And if it wasn't apparently obvious to you guys, we're doing a part 2 to our short story challenge we did 200 episodes ago, something crazy like that. So I tasked these boys at the end of last week to go ahead and write either a sequel to their first short story or to create a completely new one. And so we're all just going to be sharing our neat little things here for you. Is there anybody who'd like to go first?
I mean, I guess that we can go through mine first here. Tanner, would you like to go ahead and read my... You want to do the narration for it, and I'll read the dialogue?
Sure, I can do that.
Oh, let's go. I love it already.
Alright, let me share this link here with you.
This is gonna be a real collaborative project.
Oh yeah.
You have no idea.
We're having our very own impromptu episode of CreepCast right now.
Yeah.
Did you have a specific type of narrator in mind for this?
It's a first-person perspective, so it'll just be like, it'll be a normal guy's voice, I suppose.
I do a normal guy protagonist voice, gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. So this short story is called The Appearance of Seaside Manor. Chapter 1. I never thought death would announce itself so clearly. One moment the coastline was calm, a place of quiet reflection, and the next it had become a place I had to escape with everything I had. The tsunami siren shrieked above me, a metallic howl that drowned out thought and feeling alike, leaving only the frantic pounding of my legs as I fought through the sand. I didn't even notice the body in front of me until I collided with it. My chest hit something solid, and suddenly I was face first in the grit. Dazed, I heard muffled curses through the sirens. A rough hand seized my arm and held me upright. A broad, sand-caked man with wild eyes steadied me only long enough to start dragging me away.
I need to get to my car!
I shouted, trying to twist back toward the parking lot. He snapped me toward him, voice cutting through the noise.
Forget it. The roads are already clogged. That wave will hit before you even get close.
He jabbed ahead, never slowing.
The sea stack, Seaside Rock. It's the only high ground that'll keep us above it.
I froze. Seaside Rock? A single stone monolith against the ocean's wrath? I looked toward the parking lot, people swarming in panic, bodies pressing against each other in a futile surge toward their vehicles. I'd never pushed through in time. Seconds slipped through me like water, and hesitation was the most dangerous choice of all. My legs chose for me, and I bolted after the man towards Seaside Rock. The cool air filled my burning lungs as salt and fear mixed in every breath. One of my flip-flops flew off, so I kicked the other off as well. My muscles screamed, but the sight of the towering stack pushed me onward. Then came the crushing realization. The cliff face before me was sheer, unwelcoming. Some sides had paths, but not here. This was vertical stone, and the seconds left were few. I threw myself at the cliff anyway. There was no time to search for a better route, no room left for second guesses. My fingers scraped at the stone, hunting for anything that might hold. The rock was damp and brittle, and at the lightest touch, small chunks broke loose and rattled down past my legs. I pressed my chest against the cliff, breathing hard, trying to keep my weight close as my arms shook from the effort. Every pull sent pain flaring through my shoulders. My hands slipped, caught, then slipped again. Somewhere below, the siren screamed without pause. But now I could hear something else beneath them, a deep, growing roar that made my stomach twist. The ocean was moving fast. My foot skidded and I slammed into the rock, knocking the air from my lungs. For a split second, my grip failed entirely and I felt myself drop. Just a foot or two, but enough to spark pure terror. My heart hammered so hard I thought it might drown out the sirens. I imagined my fingers giving out, my body tumbling backward into open air, swallowed by the wave before I even hit the ground. I clawed upward again, nails biting into stone. My arms were screaming now, my vision narrowing. Everything reduced to breath, grip, pull. The ledge above still felt impossibly far away. I did not know how much longer I could hold on. Then I saw movement. A shadow fell across the rock above me, sudden and unreal. I looked up just in time to see a hand reach down over the edge, fingers spread wide, urgent. I did not think. I grabbed it. The grip was solid, rough, painfully tight. With one violent heave, I was hauled upward. My feet scraped uselessly against the cliff as my body was yanked over the edge. I had made it. I was on the ledge, gasping, sprawled beside the same man from the beach. For a moment, I could not move at all, just lay there shaking, alive by the thinnest margin. For the first time since the sirens began, I could breathe. Chapter 2. I just saw the page number.
Yeah.
Chapter 2.
We're in for a
My
long
body
one.
welcomed the pause. Huh? Sorry, what was that?
Oh, we're in for a long one here.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Chapter 2. My body welcomed the pause, every muscle shaking with relief as I gulped down air. My breathing slowed, no longer ragged, and in its place came quieter sounds I hadn't noticed before. The rustle of birds hidden in the trees above, the wind combing through tall grass, the faint wash of waves far below. It's what I didn't hear that made me leap to my feet. The sirens were gone. The man who had hauled me up the cliff stood a few feet away, staring into the horizon. When I joined him, my knees nearly buckled. The beach, the town, even the distant ridges of the mountains had all vanished beneath an endless, restless sheet of water. It felt as if the sea had swallowed the whole world and left us stranded on its last shred of land. I don't know how long we stood like that, numb and silent. At last the man let out a long, heavy sigh. He swiped at his eyes with the back of his hand, turning from the sight, and walked towards the tree line. He was built like a truck. Broad in the chest and shoulders, strong enough that even with age the fitness still showed. His hair was mostly gray but well kempt. He wore casual beach clothes and a cross necklace, looking like someone who should have been carrying a cooler into the sand, not pulling strangers out of death's reach. I hurried to catch up.
What do we do now?
The question came out flat, empty of direction. I don't know what kind of answer I was expecting. After all, what could we do? He leaned against a tree, rubbing at his neck.
Find some shelter, I suppose.
His eyes swept the brush, deliberate but uncertain.
Food and water would be tough. Been up here plenty, and aside from maybe some seagulls, all we've got is some berries to scavenge.
He tilted his head toward me.
What's in the bag?
Only then did I remember the weight on my back. I had completely spaced I was even wearing it. I swung the straps off.
Damn. My water bottle must have fallen while I was running.
I dug through the pack, a couple towels, my car keys, tennis shoes, wallet, phone, and a single granola bar.
I only planned on hanging out at the beach for a day, so I didn't pack a whole lot.
I pulled out my phone to see if I could contact the police or something. No signal. Not that there's a whole lot the local police could do anyway if the town was completely submerged. He read the frustration on my face.
I'll start looking around. Maybe some tourists left something behind we could use. Try your phone again from higher ground. You might get a signal.
I nodded and slipped on my tennis shoes before shouldering my pack. Before I left, he extended his hand.
Name's Dale.
I clasped it.
I'm Ethan.
Before letting go, I blurted out.
Oh, and thank you so much for saving me back there.
He gave a short nod and turned, heading into the brush. Before pressing forward, I looked over my shoulder one last time at the ocean that had taken everything, and the silence that followed it. Chapter 3. Seaside Rock was massive for a sea stack, rising up from the beach like a green fortress. From below it had always looked smaller, but standing on top of it was something else entirely. The surface stretched further than I recalled, covered in dense brush and wind-bent pines that creaked with every gust. Narrow dirt trails wound through the growth, half overrun with roots and patches of tall grass. I remembered following some of these paths once before, back when this place was just a tourist stop. I had taken photos from the lookout points and laughed at the warning signs about unstable cliffs, never imagining I would one day be trapped here. It only took about 10 minutes of walking to reach the far end. From here I could see the endless expanse of water wrapping around us, swallowing what used to be the coastline. I checked my phone again, hoping for something, anything. No signal, no connection, no world left to reach. The side of the sea stack had a much more gradual incline, allowing me to walk right down to the ocean. Had time allowed, this would have been a much less arduous route to take when coming up here. As I watched the tide roll in and out, I sank onto a patch of grass and buried my face in my hands, the weight of it all finally pressing down. I had only come to the beach for a day, just to clear my head, to escape the constant noise of work and family obligations, to breathe in sea air and lose myself in the rhythm of the ocean. Now that ocean had risen up and erased everything. My apartment, the streets I grew up on, the friends I texted every morning without thinking, all of it was gone or buried somewhere under that endless stretch of water. The thought hollowed me out. I tried to picture the city lights at night, the smell of coffee drifting out of the corner cafe, the sound of my mother's voice on the phone. Each memory felt fragile now, like something already slipping away. For the first time since the climb, I wondered if I would ever see any of it again. I nearly leapt out of my skin when a hand clamped down on my shoulder. I spun around, heart hammering, only to see Dale with a finger pressed to his lips.
We need to be quiet. Come with me.
He whispered. His eyes darted around like he expected something to be watching us. I didn't even have time to ask what was wrong before he pulled me deeper into the trees. My mind raced. What could possibly have him this on edge? Out here, the only wildlife I'd seen were gulls and a few small birds. There was no way something like a bear made it out here, right?
Get down!
Dale hissed, shoving me into the brush before I could say anything. Through the gaps in the leaves, I saw an open field ahead, lined by thick trees. In the center stood a large group of people, huddled outside an enormous house. For a moment, relief replaced my fear. Shelter met safety. People meant civilization. I scrambled to my feet before remembering we were supposed to stay hidden. Dale tried to pull me back, but his hand slipped from my arm as I stepped out into the open.
Why were you so worried about finding shelter if there's a house here?
I asked. He let out a sharp breath, more weary than angry.
Because that house wasn't here before.
His voice was low, uncertain.
I've been up this rock a dozen times. There's never been anything like that.
He straightened, eyes still scanning the field.
No point hiding now. Let's just hope those folks are friendly.
I followed his gaze as we walked forward. Many of the people wore the same kind of beach clothes we had on. Survivors, probably, who managed to climb up from another side of the sea stack. Still, Dale's unease didn't fade. His shoulders stayed tense, his steps cautious. As we drew closer, I began to understand why. The house looked completely out of place. It wasn't weathered or broken down like something left behind. It was pristine. Its white siding and dark shutters gleamed as if freshly painted, but the style was old, almost antique. I could imagine my great-grandparents living in a house like this, definitely not the style of modern construction. It towered 3 stories high, each window clean and intact. I never studied architecture, but even I could tell this house was beautiful. The people waved as they noticed us, and I returned the gesture. Dale, however, didn't lift his hand. His eyes stayed locked on the house, like he was waiting for it to leap toward us.
Hey, how are you two holding up? Either of you injured?
One of the men called out as he approached. He was a stocky, shorter guy, only a little older than me, with a sunburnt nose and wind-tossed hair that stuck out from under his cap.
I've got some scratches here and there, but I should be okay.
I said. Dale stayed quiet.
Good to hear. Name's Ryan.
The man said, offering a quick nod.
You two wash up from the east side? Yeah.
I said, shaking his hand.
Ethan, and this is Dale.
Ryan gave a small grin.
Well, welcome to paradise.
He gestured toward the looming structure at the edge of the clearing.
None of us are too sure what the deal with this place is. I've heard that overseas they sometimes build emergency shelters on islands in case someone gets stranded, but this one kind of feels overkill.
He said, giving a short laugh. His tone was oddly upbeat, like he was trying to convince himself everything was fine.
Some of the others think that maybe the local government just had too much money, or it's like some secret tourist hotspot that hasn't opened to the public yet. Whatever it is, no one around here has heard about it either. So why is everyone just standing outside still?
I asked.
Is the place locked up? Yeah, we tried the doors and windows, nothing budged. Someone mentioned breaking in, but people got cold feet about that. Last thing we need is getting slapped with a charge for breaking and entering, right? I don't think we have to worry about that.
I muttered.
The sun's going down soon, and the temperature will be going with it. Whatever is going on with this place, it'll at least be safer in there than it is out here.
Dale gave me a quick look, the kind that said he didn't like it but couldn't argue. The crowd around us started murmuring, a few nodding in agreement. The crowd was a ragged mix of ages and moods. A few people clustered close together and whispered, hands rubbing their arms as if it was cold, as if the cold had already started to get into their bones. There were 2 kids clutching at a woman's sleeve, eyes wide and unblinking. A couple of teenagers stood apart, scanning the tree line like they were waiting for trouble. Several of the older folks had that same drawn look. The kind of tired you only get after losing something you did not know you could lose. Even with the small spark of hope in the clearing, the air felt heavy with shock and uncertainty.
I'll go ahead and break one of the windows. So if anyone wants to sue for property damage, I'll take the fall.
I said, pushing forward. Ryan flashed me with another grin when I volunteered. A few people muttered objections, but mostly they just watched with the blank, exhausted attention of people who will do anything to not spend the night shivering outside. An older woman stepped forward suddenly. I expected her to protest or give me a warning, but instead she reached up and handed me a sweatshirt with a soft, urgent motion.
Wrap this around your arm. It will help,
she said, voice steady but kind. I took it and felt the weight of it in my hands. The fabric smelled faintly of detergent and salt. It was thick and worn. Across the chest, a faded crest and block letters peeked through, like some high school name or university logo. I folded the sleeve over my arm, the cloth bunching as I wrapped it twice around my wrist and forearm, then tucked the loose end under to hold it in place. The cotton rubbed against my skin and felt steadier than I had expected. It was more than a scrap of cloth now. It was a small promise I could take a hit and still keep going. I stepped up to one of the windows, suddenly aware of how exposed I felt. I had never broken a window before. Hell, I couldn't even remember the last time I had thrown a punch. I took a breath, pulled my arm back, and braced myself for the sound of shattering glass. Before I could swing, a loud metallic slam echoed throughout the clearing. The front door swung open. Chapter 4. My arm dropped to my side and I froze. For a split second, I didn't understand what I was seeing. A man stepped out from the doorway, bending slightly to clear the frame. He was dressed in formal clothes, the kind I had only ever seen in old movies or upscale hotels. His jacket was pristine, his shirt crisp, his hair perfectly combed despite everything that had just happened to the world outside. He looked untouched by the chaos around him. Not to mention he was incredibly tall, easily standing at 7 feet.
That's pretty tall, Tanner. What's with that face?
That face is, are you doing a waxwork or something here? I had no idea what I had expected. Maybe an old man clutching a shotgun, screaming at us to get off his land. Perhaps some government official begging us not to destroy a restricted property. Anything would have made more sense than this.
My sincerest apologies for the wait,
the man said calmly. His voice carried easily across the field.
We were not expecting so many visitors, and as such, there was some tidying to be done. It is my pleasure to announce that we are finally ready to entertain our guests. Welcome to Seaside Manor.
For a moment, no one spoke. Then the clearing erupted. People shouted over one another, confusion spilling into anger. What the hell was this? We had just survived a tsunami. The world had been washed away beneath our feet, and this man was talking like we had shown up early to a dinner party. Several people surged forward, pushing past him and disappearing into the house without hesitation. Others hurled questions at him, accusations tumbling out in panic bursts. Where had he been? Why was the house locked during an emergency? Who was he supposed to be? He did not answer a single one. He simply stood there, hands gesturing towards the open door, face composed and unreadable. I could not tell if it was shock that kept him silent, or if he simply did not feel the need to explain himself. Either way, his calm only seemed to make things worse. The more he said nothing, the more restless the crowd became.
If you wish to remain outside, that is perfectly acceptable,
the butler said, his tone unchanged.
For those who would like to join us for dinner, the lady of the house is more than willing to feed any who wish to dine with us.
The shouting died almost instantly. His words clung to the air in a way yelling never could. Food. The word landed heavy in my gut. I thought of the granola bar still buried in my bag, the only thing I had left to eat. It wouldn't even come close to filling me, let alone the 50 or so people stranded here together. Warm light spilled out from the open doorway, soft and golden, washing over the grass and the faces nearest to it. Compared to the darkening sky and the cold air creeping in, the house looked impossibly inviting and safe. I almost hated myself for how badly I wanted to step inside. One by one, people began to move. Some avoided looking at the butler as they passed, others murmured apologies, offered thanks, or nodded awkwardly before slipping through the doorway. I caught a glimpse of Ryan putting his hand on the butler's shoulder and muttering something. The anger drained out of everyone, replaced by hunger and exhaustion. Survival had a way of making choices feel simple. Then a figure forced itself through the crowd, rapidly making its way toward the door. A body slammed into the butler and drove him back against the side of the house. Despite the size difference, Dale's hand was clenched in front of the man's jacket, his face red with fury.
Like hell I'm stepping inside that house!
Dale shouted.
Have you people lost your goddamn minds? A wave wipes out everything. This place just shows up and you think this is normal? For all we know, we're all that's left.
His voice cracked with rage and an underlying sadness.
None of this is right. I don't know what this freak is, but this shit ain't natural, and I'll be damned if we fall for his tricks.
A few people rushed forward, grabbing at Dale's arms, trying to pull him back. He shoved them away with surprising strength, keeping the butler pinned in place. The crowd exploded again, fear and panic bubbling back to the surface. Through it all, the butler remained composed. His hand stayed opened at his sides, his voice calm as he spoke to Dale like a parent soothing a child. I couldn't hear the words over the shouting, but the contrast made my skin crawl. Dale was shaking, veins standing out in his neck, while the man he had pinned didn't even look afraid. I stood frozen, caught between the warm light of the doorway and the growing sense that stepping inside might be a mistake we would not get the chance to undo. Dale kept shouting, the words tumbling out faster now, louder, like he was trying to drown out his own fear.
You're some kind of a demon, aren't you? Or a ghoul sent to lure us in? Were we drawn here to live out at the end times? Like this is all part of Revelations? If you're just here to torment us, then at least give us a straight answer.
The butler continued, almost gentle.
Sir, there's no need to be alarmed if you would simply cut the crap or I'm sending you through this fucking wall!
Dale snapped, slamming the butler into the house again. His grip tightened, knuckles white.
I'm not playing your games. If you don't answer the questions, I swear to all that is holy, I will kill you!
The words hit the crowd like a spark to dry grass. Someone screamed, and in an instant bodies surged forward, shouting and shoving as fear turned into motion. Hands grabbed at Dale, others pushed toward the door, and the space between us collapsed into chaos. I felt an elbow slam into my ribs, then a shoulder strike my chest. My feet left the ground. I stumbled backward, arms flailing, the world tilting violently. The warm glow from the doorway filled my vision as I fell, swallowing me whole. For a split second, all I could see was light. Hear was shouting, feel was the sudden weightlessness of losing control. Then I crossed the threshold, tumbling into the house as the noise and terror poured in after me. Chapter 5.
We officially hit the halfway point, guys.
Holy cow, I'm gonna get a drink of water real quick to keep my voice going.
While we're waiting, how are we doing, guys?
Oh, just well.
Oh yeah, just chilling.
Fantastic. What are we thinking the deal with the house is?
I agree with Dale.
Yeah.
Very,
I've seen Legend of Hell House.
Oh.
I know where this comes from.
Okay. Chapter 5. My head was ringing as I shakily pushed myself up off the floor. My vision swam for a second, the edges of the room blurring as I tried to steady myself. What caught me off guard wasn't the pain, though. It was the silence. Despite all the shouting and shoving that had sent me tumbling inside, there was no one else around me now. No crowd, no Dale, no butler standing over me. Ahead stretched a long entryway. The walls were lined with framed family photos, coat racks spaced neatly between them, and shelves filled with small trinkets and keepsakes. Everything looked lived in, curated, like a place that had been occupied for years. The ceilings were high enough and wide to the point that even the butler would never have to duck, and the hallway itself was broad, clearly designed to handle groups of people moving through it at once. I turned around, expecting to see the open door, the soft glow from the evening sky, the chaos I had just fallen out of. There was nothing. No doorway, no wall, just darkness. The warm light behind me faded into a deep black void that felt less like shadow and more like absence. It wasn't just dark, it was empty. My chest tightened as the truth settled in. Dale was right, none of this was normal. The way I came in was gone, like it had never existed. A familiar voice echoed from somewhere ahead, snapping me out of my panic. I swallowed hard and forced my legs to move, stepping deeper into the house. The entryway opened into a large living room where several people from the crowd had already gathered. Ryan stood out immediately, sprawled comfortably in a recliner like he'd been there for hours. Others had claimed spots on a wide sectional, shoes kicked off, voices low but lively. They looked shaken, sure, but not nearly as unsettled as I felt. The inside of the house didn't at all reflect what the outside had led me to believe it would look like. Where the exterior felt old and out of time, the interior was sleek and modern. A massive television dominated one wall, flanked by a high-end sound system. Glass cabinets displayed rows of DVDs, gaming consoles, and devices I didn't even recognize. Everything looked expensive, new, and maintained. Several hallways branched off from the living room, each carrying muffled voices from unseen rooms and shut doors leading to God knows where. On the far side of the space sat an open kitchen that somehow looked even more impressive than the living room, all polished surfaces and soft lighting. I stood there, heart pounding, trying to reconcile what I was seeing with what I knew. A house that shouldn't exist, a door that had vanished, people settling in like guests instead of survivors. Whatever this place was, it wasn't just shelter.
Hey, look who it is!
Ryan finally noticed me and scrambled out of his chair.
Happy to see you, pal. Sorry I didn't catch you coming in. This place is nice, huh? Yeah, it's really something.
My gaze drifted toward the kitchen, my stomach making its feelings painfully clear. It had been way too long since I'd last eaten.
Has anyone checked there yet? That butler guy said there's supposed to be food in here. Unless you're up for eating spoons and knives, I wouldn't waste your time.
Ryan shook his head.
They've got just about every cooking appliance under the sun crammed in there, but no food. Crazy thing is, I heard some people yelling that they found another kitchen somewhere in the house too. I bet anything there's not a single crumb in that one either. Great. So no food, no way out.
The words slipped out under my breath. Ryan's half-smile slipped.
There's something wrong with this place, man. It's big. Like, really big. We did some exploring before you came in, tried to track down that lady the guy outside mentioned, but nothing. And get this place has more bathrooms than there are cockroaches in my apartment.
Voices echoed from the entryway behind me before I could respond. Ryan caught immediately and headed off to greet whoever had just arrived. Left on my own, I took a moment to really look around. Ryan wasn't exaggerating. The house already felt excessive from the outside, but inside it crossed into something else entirely. The space stretched in ways that didn't sit right. I opened one of the nearby doors and found a pantry stuffed wall to wall with napkins, garbage bags, plastic utensils, and paper plates. Everything you need in a kitchen, except the one thing that mattered. I peeked down a couple of the hallways, unsure where to even start. My stomach answered that question for me with a low groan. With a sigh, I finally took off my backpack and pulled out my granola bar. As I started to open it, Ryan reappeared at my side.
Hey man, got enough to share with the rest of us?
I tore the wrapper open, an apology already forming on my lips, when a thunderous tumbling sound erupted from one of the hallways. It hit me so hard I jumped, the granola bar slipping from my fingers and bouncing across the floor. Every head in the room snapped toward the noise as the uneven banging continued, growing louder, closer, like someone was hurling their own body against the walls over and over again. Ryan didn't hesitate. He was already moving, jogging toward the hallway.
Hey, what's going on down there? You guys okay?
He glanced back at me and motioned for me to follow, but my feet wouldn't listen. I stayed rooted in place, staring down that bright corridor, certain that whatever was making that noise wasn't something I wanted to see. Another crash rang out. Glass shattered, followed by the sound of countless objects tumbling and breaking. Whatever it was almost here, and I was beginning to smell it, sharp and metallic, like pennies pressed into my tongue, mixed with the sickly sweetness of baby powder. Even Ryan slowed at that, his confidence faltering just as something haphazardly fell, slamming itself into the wall. It filled the hallway. The thing wheezed as it tried to pull itself upright, a high whining sound like air leaking from a punctured balloon. Its body bulged and sagged, fat spilling outward as if its skin couldn't hold it all in. I doubt the thing could even see as fat folds rolled over where its eyes should be. Rough, off-yellow flesh stretched and puckered as it lurched forward, one hand scraping along the wall for balance, the other knocking light fixtures loose. The lights behind it flickered and went out, bathing its massive frame into shadow and making its skin look even more wrong. Screams erupted behind me, people scattered, furniture scraped. Feet pounded against the floor as everyone scrambled to get anywhere that wasn't here. Ryan bolted, moving faster than I thought him capable. He reached out, extending a hand to me. Relief flared for half a second, expecting him to pull me along and lead me somewhere. Instead, he yanked hard and I went down. My face scraped across the carpet, the air knocked out of me as he tore free and kept running without a second glance. I didn't even have time to process it. The thing was still coming. Closing the distance with horrifying speed despite its size, unsure of how its short legs allowed it to move so fast. Its squealing grew wetter, more strained. I scrambled to my feet and saw two other men on the ground nearby, both attempting to move, both victims of Ryan's desperation. I wanted to help, but there just wasn't any time. That thing was nearly upon me. I looked back just in time to see one of the men roll away, narrowly avoiding a blubbery fist as it slammed into the floor hard enough to shake the room. The other wasn't nearly as fortunate. The thing grabbed his legs and yanked him back with terrifying ease, wrapping him in a crushing embrace. There was a loud crack, hard and final. The monster stood there holding him, the man gasping, his mouth opening and closing with no sound coming out. He sank deeper into its folds, disappearing inch by inch as the fat closed around him, swallowing him whole. Chapter 6. The world fell away as I tore through room after room, hallway bleeding into hallway. I wasn't keeping track of where I was going or where I'd already been, only that I needed distance, as much of it as I could get. I barreled past exercise rooms with untouched machines, bathrooms that all looked identical, garages sealed shut with doors that refused to open to anything resembling the outside world. In the end, I didn't care. I just needed to be far, far away from that thing. The house echoed with screams and panicked footsteps, voices bouncing off the walls and vanishing just as quickly, yet somehow I never crossed paths with anyone. Part of me wondered if that was a blessing. Maybe that monster was drawn to noise or clusters of people. If so, being alone might be the only reason I was still breathing. Eventually my legs couldn't carry me any further and I stumbled onto an ottoman and collapsed. I sat there shaking, chest heaving, every breath feeling shallow and insufficient. This was more Let me take a drink real quick. You guys ever think about how rarely you actually read out loud? Anyway.
Oh, yeah.
This was more physical exertion than I'd put myself through in years, maybe ever, and I was just about at my limit. If that monster or something else happened upon me, I don't know if I'd be able to get away again. As my breathing slowly steadied, I finally took in where I'd landed. The room looked like someone's idea of a perfect man cave. A massive fish tank dominated one wall, stretching from floor to ceiling, filled with brilliant tropical fish that darted through coral and artificial ruins. I'm not sure if any of them were edible, but even if I wanted to try, I didn't see a way of accessing them without shattering the glass. Several billiards tables lined the room, a few balls still scattered as if a game had been abandoned mid-shot. The air carried a faint scent of cigar smoke, stale but recent. Dartboards and sports memorabilia crowded the walls alongside more family photos. Some looked like they'd been taken right here in the house, people smiling in these same rooms. Others showed road trips, beaches, mountains, vacations that felt painfully normal. None of the faces were familiar. A horrible thought crept in, that these weren't just memories but trophies. That these people had once stood where I was now. None of the eyes in the photos met mine. It almost felt intentional, like they already knew I was a goner, so didn't even feel the need to acknowledge me. A woman suddenly sprinted past the open doorway. She was young, maybe mid-20s, with dark hair pulled into a messy ponytail that whipped behind her as she ran. She wore a torn hoodie and jeans smeared with dirt and something darker I didn't want to think about. Her face was pale and tight with fear, eyes wide but focused, and she barely spared me a glance before disappearing around the corner. I took this as my sign that I needed to get going again. I groaned and forced myself upright, every muscle protesting as I staggered toward the nearest door. I expected another stretch of corridors, more of the same endless house, but instead I took a single step inside and froze. It was a bathroom. It looked like somebody had exploded in it. Blood coated the floor and splashed up the walls in thick, uneven streaks. A massive stain spread across the ceiling, dark and sticky. Strangely, the tops of surfaces were untouched. The sink and toilet gleamed. Most of the inside of the bathtub was spotless, the contrast making the rest of the room feel even more wrong. My breath caught in my throat as I realized my foot was standing in it. The warmth seeped through the sole of my shoe, and that sensation snapped me fully back to reality. I stumbled backward and slammed the door shut, heart pounding so hard I thought it might crack my ribs. The screaming had faded, and even the heavy, uneven thumping of that monster dragging itself along the walls was gone. The silence that replaced it was worse somehow, thick and watchful. Still, after what I'd just seen, the quiet gave me enough nerve to move with something closer to intention instead of blind panic. I didn't really know where I was going. Every hallway felt the same, every turn familiar in the most unsettling way, like the house was rearranging itself just enough to keep me unsure. I kept moving anyway. Stopping felt dangerous. Then I rounded a corner and saw him, Ryan. He was sitting on a couch like nothing in the world was wrong, hunched forward with his elbows on his knees, completely absorbed in something on the floor in front of him. The sight of him flipped a switch in me. I sprinted at him. He didn't even look up before my fist connected with the side of his face. He toppled sideways off the couch as I shouted, my voice cracking.
What the hell is wrong with you? You're such a piece of shit, you know that? You could have killed me back there. One of the other guys wasn't so lucky. You just killed someone. You just got someone killed, I mean.
My chest burned as I sucked in air.
And what are you doing, sitting on your ass just dicking around while that thing is still out there?
That's when I saw what he'd been staring at. A dog. At least, that's what it looked like at first glance. It was small, with curly off-white fur and stiff little legs that shuffled uselessly in place. Its movements were jerky and repetitive, and it let out short, high-pitched barks that sounded canned and hollow. Plastic eyes stared ahead without blinking. It was one of those robot dogs. Ryan slowly pushed himself upright, still seated on the couch, blood trickling from his nose and dripping onto the carpet. He didn't look at me. He didn't react to the punch or the yelling. His eyes never left the dog. A faint smile tugged at his lips, soft and stupid, like he was watching something adorable.
Ryan?
My voice dropped.
Ryan, what's your deal, man?
I shoved his shoulder. He barely moved. Just flicked an irritated glance in my direction before turning his attention right back to the dog, like I was an interruption instead of a person. Something cold settled in my gut. Not only had he tried to sacrifice me to save himself, now he was acting like I wasn't even there. I bent down and grabbed the dog, lifted it off the floor. The second it touched my hands, I knew I screwed up. The fur wasn't just synthetic and smooth, it was warm, damp. It squished slightly under my fingers in a way plastic had no right to. The barking kicked into overdrive, rapid and shrill, echoing too loudly in the small room. My stomach dropped. This wasn't a toy, it was another one of them, another thing this house made. Ryan's smile twitched just a little, but he still didn't look at me. Panic swelled and I frantically lifted it. I didn't know what it could do, only that it had its hooks in him somehow, and that was enough. My hand slid up around its throat before I fully decided to do that, fingers digging in, squeezing hard. Ryan's mouth opened like he was about to argue, some last shred of himself clawing its way up, but the sound never came. His body jerked backward instead, seized by violent spasms that rattled the furniture around him. The barking grew louder and faster, a shrill, sharp noise that felt like it was drilling straight into my skull. I forced myself to focus on my hands, on tightening my grip as the thing writhed and squirmed, its body swaying as it fought to get free. Ryan arched hard, his back bowing in a way no spine should bend, his arms and legs stretched and twisted awkwardly, joints popping as if they were being pulled apart from the inside. He gagged and choked, half-formed curses spilling out between wet coughs. With every second, the creature in my hands grew stiller, its resistance fading, and with every second, Ryan became worse. Fur burst through his skin in thick patches, tearing through fabric and skin alike. His jaw slackened and dropped too far, hanging tight and wrong, the shape of his face warping as his coughing turned into broken, stuttering barks. I let go then, dropping the dog to the floor where it landed with a dull thud, no longer struggling. Ryan collapsed forward, panting, his whole body shuddering with each breath. Slowly, he lifted his head to look at me. I barely recognized him. What stared back wasn't a man anymore, just a twisted mockery of one, features stretched and reshaped into something animal and hateful. His eyes locked onto mine, wide and glassy, and for a moment there was something like understanding there, like he could finally see himself reflected in my face. His breathing hitched, stopped. Then his lips curled back and the silence was filled with a low, rumbling growl. Chapter 7. I booked it as soon as I heard that sound. Snarls and claws ripping across carpet could be heard as Ryan struggled to figure out how to move in his new form. His movements were clumsy and violent, but I knew better than to trust it would slow him for long. I hadn't gotten far before I felt my body's protest. I couldn't rely on running anymore. My body couldn't handle it. Panic took over and I yanked open the nearest door, a bathroom. I slammed it shut just as fast, my stomach turning. I wasn't going in there, not after what I'd previously seen. The barking grew closer now. I threw open the next door and barely checked what was on the other side before diving in and slamming it shut behind me, praying that in his deformed state Ryan had lost the ability to open doors. I turned and found myself in a kitchen. My eyes darted everywhere at once as I rushed to the drawers, yanking them open with shaking hands. Silverware spilled across the floor as a loud crack split the air behind me. The door shuddered in its frame. Another drawer, nothing but plastic bags and tinfoil. Another slam against the door, harder this time. The wood groaning, shards falling to the ground. Ryan's voice came through the door between crashes of wood, warped and furious, but still unmistakably his. He was screaming my name, spitting it like a curse, accusing me of betraying him, of hurting him, of ruining everything. His words tangled together with animal snarls, sentences collapsing into barking rage as he slammed into the door again and again. I pressed my hands to my ears for a second, not to block out the noise, but the realization that he was still in there somewhere, angry and aware enough to hate me. Each impact shook the cabinets, and with every scream his voice sounded less human, like it was being torn apart from the inside. I ripped open the next drawer and froze for just a heartbeat as I saw them. Long metal meat skewers, thin but solid, sharp enough to do real damage if I was lucky. I grabbed one just as the door burst inward with a splintering crash. I ducked behind the counter, clutching the skewer tight against my chest. Ryan barreled into the room, smashing into cabinets and chairs, his claws clattering against tile as he skidded and growled. I held my breath, every muscle locked tight, my whole body shaking as I waited. I didn't want to fight him. I just wanted him to forget I was here and go away. A claw slammed down beside me. Slowly, his head rose into view just over the edge of the counter. He hadn't seen me yet. I knew I wouldn't get another chance like this. I sucked in a quick breath and launched myself up, driving the skewer straight into his eye. He screamed, a horrible, high-pitched wail, and something hot splashed across my hands. He snapped back at me on instinct, jaws clamping shut inches from my face. I twisted away, but my footing gave out and I hit the floor hard. Forks jabbed into my back as I landed. The pain flared through me, stealing the air from my lungs. That was all he needed. Ryan lunged forward and bit down on my leg. I screamed as hot white pain tore up my body. I grabbed fistfuls of forks from the floor and stabbed at his head again and again, my hands slick, my arms burning. But it was no use. His skull was too sturdy for them to have any effect. I flailed blindly at the drawers above me, my fingers hooking onto one as panic took over. I didn't even know what I was reaching for, just anything. He noticed and yanked hard, dragging me closer. The force brought me closer to him, but ripped the drawer free as well. It crashed onto the floor beside us, bursting open, knives spilling everywhere, big ones. I lunged, my fingers just barely brushing the handle before finally closing around it. Ryan reared up, keeping a claw planted on my leg to hold me in place. His breath washed over me, rancid and sour. His growl vibrated through my bones. I didn't think anymore, I just stabbed. Again and again. He yowled, his grip finally loosening, but I didn't let up. Fur and blood now covered me, but it wasn't until his weight came down on top of me that I was forced to relent. A heavy and lifeless heap pinned me down. The knife slipped from my hand and clattered away. I lay there sobbing, blood smeared across my face, tears running into my mouth. It tasted salty, awful, but familiar, like I was returning to the ocean that had started all of this. Chapter 8. I shoved against Ryan's body with everything I had left. He was dead weight, dense and unyielding, and it took every scrap of strength I had to finally roll him off me. When I crawled free, I just lay there for a moment, staring at the ceiling, chest heaving. I didn't know what to do next. I was spent, hurt, bleeding. If something else found me, I was as good as dead at this point. A thought crept in that I hated how familiar it felt. Maybe this was all the house was, a place meant to funnel us in, break us down, and finish the job. That explanation felt just as reasonable as anything else. If that was true, then what was the point of dragging this out? My eyes drifted to the knives scattered across the floor, their blades smeared dark. A quick end almost sounded merciful compared to whatever else was lurking in these halls. I shut that down fast. This wasn't my first time contemplating such thoughts, but at this point I knew better than to entertain them. I was still breathing, still standing, barely. That had to mean something. I grabbed one of the knives and forced myself upright, my voice coming out hoarse as I muttered, "If I can't run, then I can at least fight." The moment I put weight on my right leg, pain exploded up my spine. I gagged, spots flashing in my vision. Ryan had torn it up bad. Blood soaked my pant leg, and even the slightest pressure nearly brought me crashing back down. I rummaged through the cabinets until I found a stack of hand towels and wrapped my leg as tight as I could, doing whatever I could to slow the bleeding. It wasn't pretty, but it helped enough. I carefully slid the knife into my pocket and used a piece of a chair Ryan had broken as a walking stick. Nothing about it felt sturdy or reassuring. I still hurt like hell, every step slower than the last, but I was upright. For now, that had to be enough. I was more lost than ever. The more I wandered, the more everything felt the same, each hallway bleeding into the next. Doors, corners, rooms that mirrored one another so closely I couldn't tell if I'd already passed through them. I pushed into what looked like a master bedroom and came to a stop after a few steps. Two bodies lay sprawled on the floor. They were dressed in beach clothes, the same cheap shorts and sun shirts most of us had been wearing earlier that day. Survivors, like me. I didn't recognize their faces, but that almost made it worse. In their hands they clutched jewelry, diamond-studded necklaces tangled around their fingers. I didn't know jewelry at all, but I knew when something looked expensive. Their midsections had been torn open, faces still twisted in shock and fear. I didn't have the stomach to guess how old they were. My hand reflexively went to the knife and remained there until I was able to back out of the room. I just closed the door and walked away. I wanted to cry, but nothing would come. I needed to keep moving before whatever got to them came for me next. Whatever had done that to them was still out there, and I couldn't let it find me standing still. The farther I went, the denser the photos on the wall became. Frames pressed shoulder to shoulder, climbing higher and higher until there was barely any paint left visible beneath them. Faces everywhere. Families, couples, children, all frozen in smiling moments that felt cruel now. No matter how many eyes surrounded me, none of them looked back. It was like they already knew how this ended. I turned a corner into a long hallway just as a scream ripped through the house. It was close. My heart dropped as I heard it, followed by that familiar uneven stomping. I forced myself to move faster, pain screaming through my leg as I lurched forward. Fresh blood bloomed through the towel wrapped around my thigh. I bit back a sound and kept going. This hallway was worse than the others. The halls were so packed with photos there wasn't room for doors anymore, except for a single one at the far end. It felt impossibly far away. A wet, crushing sound thundered from the other side of the wall as the monster found whoever had alerted it. The impact shook the house, rattling frames and making my teeth clack together. I kept my eyes on the wall, painfully aware that if it wanted to, it could tear through the hall that divided us without effort. I risked a glance at the door. Closer now, almost there. A high-pitched whining filtered through the wall, muffled but unmistakable. My heart pounded as I reached out, desperation taking over. My hand caught the handle and I shoved too hard, my balance giving out as my legs betrayed me. I went down hard, crashing onto the floor just inside the doorway. I hit a plush rug. It absorbed the impact just enough to spread the pain instead of dulling it. And my leg was in agony as I rolled onto my side, writhing. I barely had time to curl into myself before a familiar voice floated down to me.
"Would you like some help up, sir?"
My head snapped up. The words didn't belong with the voice, and the sight that followed only made it worse. Dale stood a few feet away, calm and composed, dressed head to toe in the butler's formal clothes. The fit was perfect. I couldn't wrap my head around how he'd gotten here, why he would have followed me, or why he looked like he'd stepped out of a costume closet while I lay here bleeding and dying.
"Dale?"
I croaked, pain flaring as I tried to shift.
"What's going on?"
He reached down and hauled me to my feet with ease, like doing so wasn't even an inconvenience for him.
"You didn't manage to solve it,"
he said pleasantly.
"but you still made your way here all the same, and after such a beating, I must commend you for your perseverance."
His voice was Dale's, but the words weren't. They slid off him wrong, too smooth, too rehearsed. A cold realization settled in as images snapped together in my head. The dog, Ryan, the last time I'd seen Dale screaming with the butler pinned to the wall.
You're not Dale anymore.
I said quietly.
He didn't want to play along, so now you're forcing him to.
He tilted his head just slightly and sighed.
Let us not dwell in the past.
He said, his tone gently scolding as his eyes traced over my injuries.
We'll have to get you cleaned up before I send you on your way.
A flash of hope filled me before I could stop it. The words slipped out of me, raw and desperate.
You mean I get to leave? I get to go home?
Without letting a second pass, Dale responded.
Not away from the manor, sir.
He replied, smiling as if indulging a child.
I meant to dinner. The others are waiting, and the lady of the house is dying to make your acquaintance.
The end.
Whoa!
Jesus, man, that was quite a ride, I gotta say.
Very impressive, yeah. It's very well written.
Oh, thank you.
Just out of sheer curiosity, how many pages was that?
24.
Okay, that's about what I was expecting.
It's 24, and he also typed it, and it looks like 12-point font.
Jesus.
Oh, yeah. It's 11-point font, you piece of shit. 11.
Holy shit.
Regardless.
Crazy stuff, I tell you.
Okay.
Jackson, you said there was something that you felt like this was based off of. Is that correct?
No, I was mostly just making a joke. I said this, dude. I've seen Legend of Hell House. This is totally that. I've not seen Legend of Hell House. I have no fucking idea if this is based off anything.
Yeah, it's based off a dream that I had.
There you go.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's usually how it goes. But, solid work. Do we have anybody who'd like to... I don't want to have Tanner read more. I'd figure give him a break. Jackson, do you want to go?
Yeah, I need a rest, please.
Tanner, you don't want to narrate mine as well?
I already called dibs on reading yours. What are you talking about?
Nico, go ahead and read Jackson's, I suppose.
Fantastic.
Fucking send him the Google Doc for it.
Yeah, probably a good idea.
Let's check her out. Guapish Short Sword Challenge number 2. A crisp 50 pages. Looking nice. Alrighty.
I'd actually cry.
Alrighty, let's get to it. Jackson, does the story have a name?
No.
Okay. Now beginning the story with no name.
Ooh.
It was like any other day, with the exception of most everything in our house being inexplicably gone. Dad was in a panic and rushing to remove even more, taking away everything I loved until it was just my sister's... This is the story of you moving, it sounds like, from your cat's perspective.
Dude, just read the story, man.
Taking away everything I loved until it was just my sisters and I in cages on the ground. At this point, it escalated to no longer being any normal day, but I'm adaptable and can work with changes like this pretty easily. A couple hours passed, my cage was put inside a truck, and suddenly things got very, very loud and bumpy. I can no longer work with changes pretty easily. Dad's gone too far this time. Not helping the situation, my sister Lilac had to take a poop in her own cage. I would be lying if the thought of doing so myself hadn't crossed my own mind, but I'm not too wigged out, even to get one out even if I wanted to.
Bro is fucking fumbling.
I've said this so many times. I'm terrible at reading things out loud, man. I don't know what to tell you.
You volunteered for this!
The story is just so funny, man. I mean, I had to read something, Dylan.
True.
That's why I picked Jackson's, because I figured it'd be the shortest. Finally, after what felt like forever, we stopped outside of a new house. Finally, home at last, and free from this torment. Dad hops out of the truck and starts speaking with someone. An hour later, of us rotting away alone, he comes back and takes off driving again. This piece of shit. Dad tries reassuring us continually, but all his efforts are washed away, making us listen to the 50th Screamo song in a row. We all take turns crying out in our displeasure, hoping this ends this torture prematurely and just knocks us out with the medication like a reasonable parent would do. But no dice. We stop once again after an eternity. It's nighttime, and Dad's running around like a chicken with his head cut off. Eventually, we're all put on a rolling cart with a blanket covering us and pushed to who knows where. Thank God I'm hidden right now. My hair looks terrible from the stress. We're later let loose in an unfamiliar room with a couple beds with no undersides to hide under and a severe lack of small dark nooks and crannies. With no other choice, we all head to sleep, except for myself and my sisters who attempt to dig a hole through the wall at night. The next day, we're back on the road. For some cruel reason, he lets my sister Shimiko out of her cage again, like last night, even when she pulled that stunt of trying to run us off the road. Thankfully, she does it again in short order and is restrained back in her cage. But I know my good behavior thus far, I'm assuming, will land me in a similar privilege. And that it did. That day, he finally opens my cage door and I'm free to explore the truck. There's a litter box I could never come to use, a missing water fountain that's still at the last stop, and a dark nook under a seat that I stuck myself under for the next 8 or so hours, much to Dad's chagrin. Themis has like quite the vocabulary, I gotta say. After much stress, panic, and pacing from Dad, we finally find ourselves at our final stop, 3 trips back and forth from the truck, and all our things are in a brand new house, similar to the last stop, but with one less bed. This one is even a big glass door we could look all out. We all snuggled in after a long day in our new home. We got some well-needed sleep. The next morning, the nightmare continued, unrelenting and with little hope at the end of the road. Where were we going? Was it anywhere at all? Why was Dad so angry and stressed out? How am I not even more angry and stressed out? This may be the worst 2 days of my life, and even worse, where the hell is my actual sister? Shimiko and Lilac are fine enough, but there's someone really obvious missing from this jail cell I found myself trapped in, and it's just stressing me out more. I find myself crying out more than usual today, even though Dad gave me the best seat in my cage with a decent view looking out the windshield. Seeing the sky change so much helped take my mind off things, but this adventure needs to end soon, and I need to see my sister again. My crying seems to have gotten to Dad, as my cage is finally open again, but this time I'm feeling a bit more adventurous. Wallowing isn't going to help the situation more, so instead I take after Shimiko and start being a nuisance by climbing up to inconvenient places and generally making the act of driving more cumbersome for Dad. After much struggling, I find myself back in my cage, but not for long. Maybe a couple hours later I'm freed again, and decide to see the view from the top of the cages. It's surprisingly tranquil, just laying up here. And it really takes my mind off things. Rolling hills, other cars, and trucks racing by, and plenty of birds to watch. Drink break. Immediately fucked it up. Today ended up not being too bad, and we close it in a similar place as the last couple times. Some random room in some random place. This one even has a bed we can all hide under. Dad seems to be in a much better mood as well, and I can feel the end closing in. Filled with energy, I decide to actually explore the place some more while my sisters sit under the bed. It's got a kitchen, bathroom, bed. Is this our final stop? Bit small and quaint from the last house, but as long as I get trees back to lay on, I'm content. We all end up falling asleep in our new home relatively peacefully, excited to see what tomorrow brings. Tomorrow brought more driving, and I was quickly proven to be wrong again. He did free me from my cage much more quickly this time, and I spent most of today's drive looking out the window again from atop the carriers. The scenery kind of sucks, just nothing but flat dirt and boring bushes for miles, and the sound of the truck, but still enough to keep my mind off things. Thank God, by day 2, Dad decided to switch to headphones for his music, or this would have been a much different experience for everyone. My vocal cords would be shot from all the crying. My sisters seemed to have settled into their routine as well, getting let out and paid attention to at our various stops in the middle of nowhere, and not crying as much. Hopefully we're almost at our true new home, because I don't think peace will last for too much longer if not. Another endless day passed us, and another random room we found ourselves in, this one a lot smaller than the previous ones, which leads me to believe this is just another stop, but it's a nice one at least. Nice big window with lots to look out from inside. Big bathroom with hiding spots, and Dad is in great spirits for once this trip. It's even light out for once. The rolling hills out the window are a sight for sore eyes, and I imagine running through them as I drift off to sleep. The next day, we're unsurprisingly packed up again and shuttled off to the truck once again. As we're rolling down the sidewalk, Dad tries to make a tight turn, and with the blink of the eye, off my cage goes from the top of the stack. I crash down to the ground, and the door of my cage pops open, like it was barely attached to the first place. I have no idea what's happening, and Dad is panicking to pick up the pieces of a now broken door. My head's still spinning from the impact, and all I can see in front of me are the mere hills from last night. As quickly as I can, with my limited dexterity as of present, I dash from the cage straight forward. Dad immediately gave chase, but there's no way he can catch me. I leap over a small patch of grass onto the following sidewalk, and shortly after, into the street. One last push and I'm there. One last push and M dash. AI spotted! AI spotted! The world goes dark. A faint scream comes from behind me, and a strange feeling overtakes me, and then leaves just as quickly as it came. End of chapter 1. I'm kidding, that's the end. There we go, we did it.
Wow. Jackson, you lied. You did make another cat story.
When did I say I didn't?
I thought I remember you saying you didn't
that.
write one. It's fine. Tanner, do you
That
need...
was absolutely delightful.
Yeah, it was oddly thematic to this week's movies, both of you. Well, Jackson's more than yours, Nico, but still thematic to the movies this week. Do you need more of a buffer here, Tanner?
What do you mean?
He wants you to do more reading.
Are you still needing a rest from talking?
Oh.
No, I'm asking if you want to read your story, is what I'm asking.
Nah, I mean, we've all had someone else read the stories.
Mine's special, that's why I'm...
Oh, you want to read your own?
This is a little special.
I have a shorter one that I'll read, and then I have one that's all of us.
Holy cow.
Real quick, there was something from my short story, okay, that I would like to bring attention to. Tanner, please read this word.
Mm-hmm. Gesturing.
Gesturing?
Gesturing?
Yeah, gesturing, that's how you pronounce that.
It does look wrong is the thing.
Yeah.
It does.
I don't know if I agree with you guys there.
So, I'll go ahead and go first to give Tanner a little more breathing room. Since
I was gonna say let's go ahead, have Jackson read my story, and then you can read your own.
Oh, okay. Jackson, go
We'll
for it,
save
my
the
man.
best for last.
I've got 2, though. That's the thing.
Yeah, you can read both of them at the end. I'm gonna go ahead and link mine for everyone, just because I feel like it's a bit easier to follow along if you also have it in front of you, so...
That's
That's
valid.
what
Made
you
a
guys owe.
fucking House of Leaves sequel.
This is, in fact, me fleshing out my idea for a sequel to The Happening.
That's
my
very
lord.
funny. This is gonna be great.
The happened.
Oh, yeah.
I assume it's just me reading everything. Is there dialogue you want to swap out, or I just do everything?
There's incredibly sporadic dialogue, but I'll let you read it as well.
Okay. As I'm the same as Nico. I'm fucking terrible at reading, but I'll try my best. That happened. This wasn't my first time back on land, and it's impossible to spend 10 years out at sea without supplies that can only be gathered from the various beach towns, trading post, and abandoned warehouse along the east coast. This will be my last time heading inland, and hopefully the last time I have to spend another year living on a boat. My crew and I really lucked out. When the happening came, we were out on a deep sea fishing excursion and were able to hear everything over the radio from the safety of the ocean. When we started hearing reports of it happening in Europe, most of my crew and I decided to load up on supplies and live where there's no plant life. Our daily life since then has consisted entirely of fishing, meaningless time wasting, and listening to the radio to get updates on where current flare-ups are happening. When this all first happened, an event would only last about a day or two. Now whole swaths of the country will turn into suicide zones for weeks on end. We've adapted the best we could, but after the initial outbreak decimated the East Coast, there wasn't much hope of returning to business as usual. Survivors still managed to maintain cross-country communication and trade. Washington ostensibly still exists, although even before the militias moved in to jockey for control, their actual governing capacity was ceremonial at best. Nowadays, most people live in scattered scorch zones, where all plant life has been burned away, and I try to live as normally as possible. Last year, my crew and I decided we'd head for one such scorch zone, sick of eating fish... Hold on, I'm zooming in so I can read better. Sick of eating fish every meal and realizing that our normal sources of supplies wouldn't last forever. We knew we needed to find somewhere we could live more permanently. After much debate, we settled on the famous Death Valley Safe Zone, by far the least vegetated area in the US and now the most populated. It would be a fairly long journey from the coast, of the Gulf to Death Valley, but we felt certain we were up to the task. The delay between our decision and the actual beginning of the journey was due to the need to gather adequate supplies, especially hard to find things like gas masks and gasoline. But finally, here we were, ready to set off from Corpus Christi for Death Valley. Depending on road conditions, we had enough gas on hand to get us as far as New Mexico. Our hope was we'd be able to scavenge enough gas to save us from walking the second half of our journey. I was hopeful that we'd be able to make the trek in only 3 days. As far as we were aware, there were no major obstacles in our path. Granted, you can only gather so much information about the open road nowadays. As we were leaving the coast, we encountered our first sign of civilization. In this case, an actual sign. Entering the free state of the Republic of Texas. Visitors welcome. The past tense on that sign, welcomed. The past tense on that sign raised an eyebrow, but all of the info we had on the ROT showed it to be fairly hospitable by end of the world standards, so long as you didn't question the validity of their succession. Besides, the core of the Republic was up in Waco, so we weren't anticipating encountering anything on our way out of the state. Aside from how sweaty the face mask made me, things were going well for the first several hours. We came across a trading post outside of San Antonio in the remains of an old Texaco station. We managed to get rid of the last of our fish for a couple extra gallons of gas and some pre-happening food that was so fresh you had to assume it was more preservatives than actual edible material. Our first sign of trouble came when we were closing in on El Paso. There off to the side of the road was a man hanging from a streetlight. We found he still had plenty of food and water on him, and rigor mortis had not yet fully set in, so we assumed he couldn't have been there more than a day. We had made sure to leave a few days after a flare-up had happened in this area, and I had never heard of one starting again so soon after we surmised that he had likely been killed rather than succumbed to compulsive suicide. I wasn't sure which of those options I found more unsettling, though. I fastened my mask a bit tighter just to be safe. We were making our way through El Paso, having to frequently pause to clear vehicles out of the way. I was about to remark about how strange it was to have so many cars still on a major road, when the answer to my question suddenly rang out in the form of gunshots coming from all around. Now, the one type of equipment we hadn't been able to acquire nearly enough of was firearms and ammunition, so we set to trying to slalom our way down the highway as fast as possible with our gunmen doing their best to keep us covered. As I was trying to duck down while still spotting where the threat was, I realized most of the shots were not being directed at us. What I instead saw was that we seemed to be caught in the middle of a war with a faction on either side of the highway. Our drivers finally found a way off the highway, and I pulled into an alleyway so we could take cover. I couldn't believe how much gunfire I was hearing. They were using up what for us would be months' worth of scavenging. As we were distracted by the chaos in the street, we didn't notice the strangers coming up behind us. Alright, weapons down, folks. We don't want no one getting hurt. We laid our weapons down and turned around to see 2 men pointing guns at us. They looked like post-apocalyptic cowboys, wearing respirators and cowboy hats. Now you folks clearly ain't cartel. Mind telling us what you're doing around here? I was surprised at how calmly he was speaking given the battle going on just 50 yards away. We explained where we came from and how we were making our way to Death Valley Safe Zone. Well, you picked a hell of a time to come on through. Why don't you come with us to our camp for now? Those border spats usually don't last longer than 1 to 2 hours. You can be on our way after that. The camp, in quotations, as the man called it, turned out to be what looked like an old West Frontier town built in the middle of the city's football stadium. Easy to defend in the artificial grass reminds people of when you could actually enjoy nature. Jesus. The other cowboy told us as we approached the gates. Indeed, the way they had transformed this place into a veritable fortress was impressive. There was a series of walls and watchtowers leading up to it, and in the outward-facing windows of the stadium they had placed all manner of weaponry. I swear I even spotted an old-fashioned cannon poking out of one of their makeshift embrasure. The cowboys took us to the centermost building, which they jokingly, or perhaps with self-aware sincerity, called the saloon. Our escorts sat us down and treated us to drinks. I can't believe it had been a decade since I'd had real bourbon, and explained to us what was going on. Turns out the battle we had stumbled upon was one of the fairly regular border skirmishes between the Republic of Texas and what they referred to as El Cartel Ultimo, an organization that had united all of the old world drug cartels and now ruled everything from Mexico down to Panama. They were attempting to claim more territory. Because of the dense jungles of South America, tens of millions of refugees had fled into Mexico and Central America as they were starting to run into overpopulation issues. They told us as soon as the fighting finished, we ought to be safe and continue on our journey. In the meantime, we made sure to resupply to our best of our abilities and gather as much information as we could. We were even able to use the fort's long-range radio to make contact with the Death Valley safe zone and make some preliminary plans for settlement. When the cowboy came to tell us the battle had finally petered out, we all agreed to spend the night and leave again in the morning. We set out from the fort early in the next morning, hoping to make up for some lost time in the previous day. A few hours passed and we finally were crossing into New Mexico when we suddenly came across a barrier in the road. Someone had moved a concrete divider onto the road. Cautiously, we got out of our vehicles to begin removing the roadblock. I was put on lookout duty and began scanning the area with a pair of binoculars, and I felt my hairs stand on end as if we were being watched. As I was scanning a rock outcropping far in the distance, I spotted a strange glint. I turned around to call out when there was a sudden crack, and the head of my crewmate in front of me exploded in a kaleidoscope of red and viscera. We immediately took cover behind the barricades and cars as a number of other shots rang out. We were sitting ducks. There were at least 3 snipers covering us in our boxed-in vehicles with nothing for us to hide behind besides the concrete barriers. Our captain called out, "We need to get the barriers moved so we can drive out of here." We had to shove these barriers by bracing our backs against them and scooting on our asses to keep our heads out of sight. Finally, we managed to clear the road, and one of our drivers hopped in the front seat of the leading car and then, as if we were synced up with the closing of the door, was promptly shot through the head. "God damn it!" yelled the captain. "Put the cars in neutral. We need to push them along so we can stay covered until we're out of the range." If it wasn't for his leadership, I don't know if we would have managed to escape that day, but we managed to file in on the reverse side of the cars from the snipers and move them along. Once the firing finally abated, we all piled in and hauled off as quick as possible. This was not a good day, 2 dead and another severely wounded. I hope the rest of the journey wouldn't be so eventful. Unfortunately, that wouldn't be the case. We had stopped just outside of Phoenix for the night and were woken up early in the morning by the sounds of multiple gunshots. We all ran out of our tents to see that next to our latrine ditch lay 2 bodies, both shot through the head. Bewildered, I looked around to see what could explain this when I noticed a lone tumbleweed rolling in the wind. Our crewmates must have gotten up to use the bathroom and figured they were safe to not wear their respirators. In such a barren landscape, only for the wind to bring that tumbleweed up to them. From then on, we would be sure to wear our masks at all times, no matter what. A lesson that had come at far too high a price. Despite losing nearly half our crew, we were finally closing in on our destination. The road signs were now bearing graffiti directing travelers in the direction of the safe zone. As we were driving along, I noticed something strange on the horizon. It looked like lots of white dots on the ground. As we were getting closer, we saw that they were actually greenhouses, hundreds of them. Right as we came up on the first of the greenhouses, we reached a checkpoint with a sign saying, "Now entering Death Valley Safe Zone." We spoke with the guard and were let through with relative ease thanks to the arrangements we had to make back at the fortress. One of the guards accompanied us to the second inner safe zone and explained that we had to be searched and decontaminated for any plant matter or seeds. As I was going through this, I inquired about the greenhouses and explained that the safe zone's population had grown too large to be sustained off of exclusively wild grazing livestock and scavenged goods. So they had to set up these airtight greenhouses to grow food. "And you feel safe eating fresh produce?" I asked, and the guard replied, "No, we grind up and cook everything before bringing it to the residential areas. Loses a lot of the taste and texture you want, but the nutrients are still all there." I wondered if there was a chance we'd end up getting jobs as harvesters while the rest of my crew finished up getting decontaminated and we were back on the road heading for the center of the scorch zone. As we drove, we witnessed burners, people equipped with flamethrowers making sure to keep plant life out of the zone, and even people who appeared to just be taking their cars out for a nice ride. When we reached the center, I was amazed at what I saw. A massive tower had been constructed here in the middle of the desert, and spreading out from it were houses, businesses, and other buildings of all shapes and purposes. The area was absolutely bustling with people, even more than I could believe, and none of them were wearing respirators or anything. We reached the central tower, which turned out to be the primary governing building for what counted as the government here in the safe zone. The procedure, now that we were here, was to be sequestered off into separate rooms and interviewed. The interview mostly revolved around what my life was like before the happening, what sorts of skills and knowledge I had, and what I had done to survive so far. My interviewer was impressed with how we managed to survive out at sea for so long and felt certain we'd be able to become valued members of the community. As we were all reunited, a young woman came out to inform us that we had already been approved to be accepted to the Death Valley Safe Zone, and we can now see the housing and employment offices to get started on building our lives here. Just then, we heard what sounded like church bells start ringing. As we were looking around in confusion, the woman said, that's just the courthouse. They must be about to deliver a verdict. We decided to go see for ourselves and found that a huge crowd had formed. In front of the courthouse was a lectern with a judge standing behind it. Next to him, a man in handcuffs with his mouth gagged, and off to the side of the stage, a large object covered in a tarp. The bell struck one last time and the judge spoke. This man has been found guilty of thievery and thusly has been sentenced to death. A few jeers and condemnations rang out from the crowd. 2 guards began dragging the prisoner towards the tarp-covered object. As they arrived at it, the tarp was pulled off, which revealed what appears to be a large transparent cube with a tree inside of it. The guards ungagged the man and he began screaming, "Please, please, don't do this! It was only a little food I took! You can't do this, please!" The guards then took off the handcuffs as well and roughly forced the man through a door into the container. Right before they closed the door, I heard that man take a deep gasp air and once closed, he began pounding on the door. At this point, the crowd had really gotten worked up, screaming and taunting the man. As I kept watching, he stopped trying to break the container and collapsed to his knees, tears streaming down his cheeks as he covered his face with his hands and clutched at his throat. Eventually, he could hold his breath no longer, and took a massive desperate gasp, at which point his expression went totally blank and his arms fell to his sides. He stared blankly at us for what felt like forever before he stood up, turned around, approached the tree, and began violently bashing his skull against it. I don't know how long I watched for, although I felt I left well before he had actually finished himself off. I was in disbelief and sick to my stomach at what I had witnessed. Was this normal? Does this happen often? How could the crowd just watch and cheer this on? I thought to myself as I wandered back to the administration building. I finally thought to myself, maybe we should have stayed on that boat. End.
Solid. Very Tanner ending.
What'd you guys think, huh?
I think that'd be a pretty solid sequel to the movie, honestly.
I think it'd be better than the original.
Oh, yeah? I wouldn't be too tough. I think there's a lot of room for me to flesh this out. It's pretty bare bones right now.
Nah, it's probably... I mean, you know, we're all just going with the flow here for the most part. I guess I'll share...
Did you find that... I was just gonna say, did you find that execution method I made up funny?
Yeah, I think
that
was
is
cool.
Yeah.
It is quite ironic, I believe, but you know, you do what you gotta do. All right, I'll go ahead and also just leave the link here so you guys can follow as I read. So this will be
Hopping right into Dylan's.
yeah. So
dude, you need to give us access to it.
What?
Or you
Did I
need
not?
to. You need to set it to be like public or viewable by anyone who has.
Oh,
link.
I thought by sharing it with you guys. That's very funny. Here we go. That should do it. Are you in?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not
This was
yet.
a little after our last thing. This is a little something I wrote up extra outside. I did go a little nerdy, so please forgive me. But it just adds context to world building.
Hey, you put the inspiration and everything in here.
You've
Yeah.
got a fucking glossary at the beginning.
Trust me, I do this shit. I did this with the other story. It's not going to be in there. But yeah, so this is going to be called Phase Runner. It's the Phase Runner pilot. And for those at home who can't see it, I got creative with the spelling, with numbers and shit. This is, in fact, inspired by Code Lyoko. Shout out to anybody who knows that. Leave it in the comments. Do I even want... I'm not even going to go over... Nah, fuck it. I'll go over it. So, power scaling system. The power in this universe is going to be based off of the specs of the electronics in the world. For fairness and balance, these skill traits will be based on the following: speed, reaction time, power, energy, defense, phase duration. The definitions of these are as follows. Speed is linked to RAM, the rate at which an entity can travel and combat another entity. Reaction time, graphics card, the rate at which an entity can dodge and process movement. Power comes from the CPU, the physical potential of an entity. Energy comes from the power source, the potential output of an entity if they have ranged or special attacks. Defense is derived from the motherboard, the potential to mitigate and block damage from any source. And phase duration, the cooling system, the amount of time in which the user or entity can remain at the same power before de-escalation. The properties and principles in which this world operates are as follows. For obvious reasons, there are yin and yang abilities in general. For every positive, there is a negative. This much is certain. However, there are forces beyond these that can control the flow of our battles. These outside forces are known as reality specs. For all intents and purposes, you better hope you plan yours well. Along with choosing your cyber build and what you use, I'm gonna skip over all this. So basically this is just pointing out reaction time versus speed. I'm just gonna skip all that, get straight to the story. Now that you understand how the basics work, let me introduce myself. My name is Miles Clark. I was the first one introduced to the world of phase. I'm currently a freshman in high school, and I plan to finish. But it's not that easy. And no, I'm not talking about, oh my gosh, high school is so hard. Trust me, I'm not that lazy. What I mean is some otherworldly entity is causing mischief on reality. And while this may seem weird to you, let me add a little context. The current year is 2557. Virtual reality is almost obsolete, and augmented reality is starting to make huge strides in advancement. Not only is the technology more realistic, but you don't even need special devices for it to work. Sorry, let me get right to it. There is some sort of glitch in reality that happens every once in a while, and there's no legitimate way to describe it. No science, no magic, no religion, just an anomaly that appears for no reason, so people just shrug it off and don't pay any mind to it. With me being a high schooler, I shouldn't think much of it either, but I just have this feeling. Growing up in a world of technology and computers everywhere you go and anywhere you look, I decided to try and look into it. While I was exploring the world from the safety of my home, I hit a snag. I was so close and I knew it. I decided to let it simmer until I finally had an idea of how to figure it out. Then one day I was bored sitting in my computer class, having finished up all the work when I decided to use my extra time to work on an extra project. My teacher, Mr. Agniero, agreed to this and permitted me to do so. So I started from where I left off at home. Knowing there would be restrictions on where I could go and what I could do, I imported my own personal OS and proceeded from there. On top of that, I didn't want anyone to see what I was doing, so I blocked the permissions that allowed the teacher to spy on me while I worked. Not long after I got all that taken care of, I quickly discovered the source of the problem. Not just a lead, but the actual source. That was unreasonably quick. Is it because the school is an isolated source, and that helped me discover it? But I quickly realized why I found it so quick. Not only did the source originate from the school, but it was coming from the computer room. The only other person I figured was competent enough to have created something this complex was my underclassman friend, Juno Repin. An 8th grader nerd to most, but to me, an even more capable techno-genius with less experience than me. That's the only thing that separates us, so I value his friendship as if he were the same grade or higher. Back to it though. It didn't just come from him. Even if he was just a kid messing around, he had no reason to do this. These glitches have been tests, but they seemed like they had purpose. Like they were part of something bigger. Call me crazy because I have absolutely no right to infer or assume this information, but it's the only thing that makes sense to me at this moment in time. No, it definitely wasn't Juno, but who else had the computer experience? Who else had the computer experience along with some kind of motivation to do something with it? So I continued digging. Then it occurred to me, I could just download a piece of the code and trace the metadata. So, hoping and praying I wasn't about to grab a piece of some kind of super virus, I went for it. Luckily it wasn't a virus, at least not in the traditional way. It was an AI that was fully capable of adapting and learning, but somehow this person managed to alter it so it would not, and could not, operate without an order in its code to do so. This was extremely advanced knowledge that eluded me, so at this point I was invested just to find out who created it. After digging through this AI virus, I finally found who the creator was, and it took me this long because it kept creating new security systems and rewriting its code so I couldn't get back in the way I had previously. After many, many minutes of frustration, I got in, and it was none other than Mr. Agniero who created it. I was so excited I shot up out of my seat and was about to run over and start asking questions and getting lessons on how he did what he did, but then I found it. Another file miscellaneously popped up after I cracked open the code, and it contained a video and some notes. I know I probably shouldn't have, just because I was already probably doing something I shouldn't be, but I looked into them. At that moment, I wish I hadn't. Suddenly, all the excitement left my body. Knowing what I knew, I felt like I had to do something. Then, almost out of nowhere, Miss Agniero appeared to my right where I was blocking the screen from sight. Thankfully, that bought me enough time to get out of everything and hit my emergency switch. He asked me how my progress was going, and with an empty void of an answer, I told him it was going great, and that I was making great advancements. He asked if he could see, and I told him that I actually had an emergency and asked if I could be excused. He begrudgingly and suspiciously let me go, but I saw him eyeballing the computer I was using. I started for the door and took a peek at the screen as I left. Whatever this AI was left a small remnant on the school computer, and I think he must have noticed. He bent down to investigate the computer, and I felt his eyes laser to the back of my head as the door to the computer lab closed behind me. Lucky enough for me, it was the end of the day and I was able to go home. Unfortunately for me, I had to ride the bus home, so I had to wait for the designated time for the bus to leave. My little brother, Trey, was already on the bus and decided to migrate up to me to talk to me about my day. I gave him the usual answer that I do and waited for Juno to get on. My little brother didn't seem to get the idea and kept asking me questions. I guess I could have expected his childhood curiosity to kick in given the fact that he's only in 4th grade. Eventually, after what seemed like an eternity, Juno got onto the bus. What I didn't know is that Juno saw the situation and what I was discovering, and he had questions and concerns. So I proceeded to tell him what I had found and what my thoughts were and asked him if he was familiar with the reality glitches. He confirmed that he was familiar and that he understood that what was going on and found it weird that Mr. Agnero would behave like this. We brainstormed on the way home on how we could help Mr. Agnero and fix these reality glitches. Considering that we could barely understand how the reality glitches happen now, we couldn't even begin to comprehend how to fix them. Trey kept butting in and tried to offer his own ideas, but we just ignored him the whole ride home while we continued to think. Then we arrived at my house. We had passed Juno's a while ago, and we asked his parents' permission to hang out. Soon enough, we ran upstairs to my room and hopped onto my computer so we could start creating a solution.
So the immediate thing I'm noticing, Dylan...
What's up?
Is that all that stuff you had at the very beginning, explaining the power system or whatever, was totally unnecessary for us to hear the story?
Yeah, that was like don't worry about it. It's because
it eventually comes
into
play, Tanner. It's world building.
Right.
I don't know if I think I started writing another.
I will say it left
but...
me a bit confused because I was constantly being like, okay, how does this play into the thing he just told us, though?
Yeah, no, that's my bad. I definitely went into that expecting to actually have I'm obviously gonna build off of this, but
yeah, of course.
Just the beginnings of something I plan to do eventually. Where is that? Oh, here it is. Okay, let me go ahead. And then this one is going to be ye ol'... Alright, and this is going to be the sequel to the first story that I wrote. And this one is going to have everybody's participation. I can either do the narration
Holy shit.
Actually, Tanner, I'll have you do the narration because I think the character I had you play last time isn't really in this episode. If that's alright with you.
Fantastic.
Alright, so Aaron is going to be me, G is going to be Jackson, and Devin, Zeke is Jackson, Devin is Nico. Tanner, you can go ahead and play G, I suppose. That he'll probably round it out pretty evenly.
Okay, I will be the narrator as well as G.
Yes.
Do you want to give a synopsis of what happened in the first one?
That's a good idea. I literally don't remember what my own story was from the first short story episode, so that would be appreciated.
The synopsis for what happened from the first episode was we had Aaron and he's having these schizophrenic episodes and he thinks he's just crazy, but he comes to find out he's, has a gift that allows him to see a part of the world that nobody else can see, and he runs into this little spirit called Jichira, and he begins educating him and training him in how this alternative world works, and basically it's him and his friends walking to school, and then they run into a big old monster that they gotta fight, and it ends with just a cloud of smoke and the monster looking to deal a devastating final blow to our group here. And that's where we're going to pick up.
Gotcha.
Pick up from.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and start then.
Okay.
Schizophrenic, Episode 2. We open to a maelstrom of cloud and dust. Nothing can be seen, not even the behemoth responsible for this mess. Suddenly, a shimmer comes through the clouds, faint at first, but then a flicker, then another one, and another one.
What just happened?
Do you remember if I did a silly little voice for this guy or something?
Jackson did it last
Dr.
time.
Eggman voice.
Dr. Eggman?
Yeah.
I mean, Jackson did G last time, so do whatever, I guess.
I can't even remember what fucking Eggman sounds like. Is he like a little... Wait, is he a little creature or a human?
He's a little, like, dog dragon. He's, like, a little tiny...
Okay. Maybe I should do Eddie Murphy as the fucking dragon from Mulan.
Oh, there you go.
Go for it, man.
I'm not gonna do that.
Okay.
Sorry, I'm trying to think of a decent voice for this guy. Your friend did it! He put up a barrier just in time! Soon, the relief is quickly followed by the sound of cracking glass.
Why is it breaking?
They take a brief moment to turn toward Zeke. He may have made the barrier, but it's not as strong as it could be.
Why would that be the case?
Hey, don't mean to interrupt anything, but nobody has explained anything, and this whole situation is making less sense by the minute.
I'm feeling some kind of weird strain in my body. What's going on?
Thankfully, he kept his hands raised the whole time.
Wait. Hey, Zeke.
Yeah?
I forgot how I wrote this story. Are you praying right now?
I told you, man, I don't do that kind of stuff. The hands thing was weird enough.
Just as I expected. The barrier is only at half strength because he's only performed half his task.
Please explain to me how it makes sense for an atheist to have this kind of power. It's pretty counterintuitive.
A theist? What is this term? I've never heard it before.
Of all the things for you not to know, it's when a human acknowledges a higher power but doesn't have proof of it being a divine being or something like that.
Well, of course there's a higher power. There's no other kind of explanation for how things are the way they are.
Not the point right now. The point is, how much longer is it gonna last like this?
The barrier continues to shatter under the force of the Raiju. Not much longer! Without his profound belief, there's nothing reinforcing and revitalizing the barrier!
Hey, man, what are you doing here?
Gee, what are we doing here?
G struggles to make up his mind.
Guys, I forgot the voice immediately. Guys, I'm starting to feel weak. I don't know how much longer I can keep doing this.
Are you doing a fucking Trump
he
voice? Fantastic.
Keep that.
Zeke is on the verge of passing out.
Whoa, what's going on, Zeke? Is he going to be okay?
Yeah, he'll be fine. Just focus on relaying information. Has anything changed?
No, this cloud won't let off. It just lets off a steady stream of energy. What is this thing?
Gee, I really need a solution now. You have 3 clueless high schooler students that are about to die to something they know nothing about.
G seems to still be internally struggling with something, but he seems more reluctant to do it than before.
Alright, fine. Be that way. I'll do it myself.
Hang on, man, what are you talking about?
Hang on, man. I can hold.
Zeke passes out.
The energy is about to come down in a large burst on us. Whatever is holding it back probably won't after this.
It's now or never. I'm going for it.
Going for what?
No, don't do it!
Devin, I know there has to be a stronger concentration of this energy somewhere. Point it out to me.
There really isn't. I don't really know what I'm doing, what's going on.
His powers aren't developed enough yet, and neither are yours!
He's turning into Monokuma slowly over time.
Oh no.
Either I do something or we all die, but I'm pretty sure you'll be fine with all of your reincarnation energy.
Aaron closes his eyes again and begins searching for the mana core he found in the yokai before. It has to be here. There's no other way. Jichi-Ra clearly sees the dedication in Aaron's eyes. He's really considering doing it. It's not like I gave them much choice or option, but they're all so much better than I could have imagined, and they're best friends to boot. Finally, after searching, Aaron locks onto the manifested mana located in the Raiju Behemoth's chest. I found it! Now what's my approach?
Devin, I need you to tell me when the energy breaks through. That's when I'll make my move.
Yeah, sounds good. But you owe me an explanation when this is all over.
Good thing that's exactly what I was planning on doing.
Aaron winds up, ready to move into action. The behemoth crashes down again with a gale of wind. The barrier begins to shatter into pieces.
We missed our window. It's already come down.
Shoot, well, we don't have a second chance.
Aaron leaps forward. Something seems to carry him as he flies through the air. So far so good. A little resistance, but I should be able to push through. The amount of energy coming off the spirit is intense. As Aaron draws closer, it becomes more and more apparent that he won't make it. Foolish human! I guess I didn't leave you much of a choice. You're not going to make it, but I will help you. I made a good choice in picking you 3. I intend to keep you safe for now until you can save yourselves. 6,000 down to 5,500 MA. Suddenly, Jichi-Ra burst into a translucent blue flame. The overwhelming amount of energy coming from him was too much for Devin's newly formed 6th sense has maxed it out and passes out from the overexertion.
What happened to Devin?
Do you not feel the amount of energy I'm giving off? It was probably too much for him to handle. The behemoth, in reaction to Jichi-Ra transforming, realizes he needs to put effort into his strike against Aaron. The two clash mid-air, and the resulting force knocks Aaron to the ground, dazing him. Suddenly, you see Jichi-Ra break through the Raiju's armor, exposing the same eerie red orb that the other spirit held. Your mana is mine! Jichi-Ra clamps his jaw down onto the orb. The Raiju grapples onto him to keep him from taking it. Moments before the fight draws to an end, Aaron passes out. A bright light flashes, and then everything goes dark. Wake? Hello? And you ear? Aaron? Suddenly, Aaron jolts awake, looking to check his surroundings. He was still outside Zeke and Devin's houses. Still concerned, he looked around and finds Devin and Zeke both laying on the ground. Somewhat relieved, he turns to G.
That wasn't all a dream, right?
No, it wasn't, but don't worry, the Raiju is gone!
That's a relief. That was all so much, but I'm glad to have just gotten through it and lived.
Yes, it is quite a relief. Aaron checks the time on his phone.
Hey, this is very serious, man. You need to take this serious. Wait, only 10 minutes have passed since I left home. That can't be right.
Well, you see, there's a simple explanation for that. You see, we spirits inhabit a plane of existence outside of yours. If it wasn't already obvious, we can choose to come and go as we please. However, if you do decide to leave the material plane, it's at the risk of losing all of our stored mana, like I had explained to you earlier. But this plane that we were just in wasn't the spectral plane that we spirits reign from. We were in a special pocket dimension in between yours and ours. Remember how you leapt out of the barrier? Stupid idea, by the way.
Yeah, I remember that. I definitely have not been that athletic in my life.
You see, that's because that was the polyfoam plane, a space where all forms of life can exist. The reason that spirit chose to fight there instead of on the material... Is this supposed to be Jichi-Ra and not the narrator?
It's like both. You can keep reading in the voice you had, it's fine.
Okay.
Apply an echo filter to the narrator's voice, but in the Jichi-Ra voice.
Yeah.
Was probably because he would have had the advantage. You see, in the polyfoam form plane, we have access to abilities most beings would not be familiar with. For you, that would be leaping off the ground and gliding. However, for us spirits, it allows us easier access to our store of mana and the depth of versatility we can do with it. So while it may benefit the spirits to exist in that plane, if the right kind of psionic, what medium psychics and preachers are referred to as a group, exists in the same one, it could prove difficult.
Oh, that makes sense.
That's what I'm here for! Aaron looks at the time again.
Oh shoot! We're gonna be late if we don't hurry!
Well, hurry up and wake the others! It took forever to wake up your lazy bones!
Oh, shut up.
Aaron rushes over to wake them up and hesitates.
I just realized, what do I tell them when they wake up?
Well, I think we lucked out in both of them passing out because...
It's not. Whoops.
It's because it's not much easier to pass it off as a dream.
I suppose that's fair.
I think there shouldn't be a not there at all. It's much easier to pass it off as a dream.
True. I suppose that's fair, but what do I tell them about passing out on the sidewalk outside their houses?
Just wait to see what they say when they wake up, then go from there.
Can you, possess them or something? Or influence them in some way?
After what I just pulled, the last thing I want to do is try to do that to them. To normal humans, that would be okay. However, the situation changes when it comes to people like you three.
Why is that?
Since the three of you have a stronger psionic, it requires more energy on our part to fulfill the mana required to match and exceed that, even if the host is unaware of what's going on.
But I thought you said that you had mana stored up for reincarnation or something like that.
That doesn't mean I want to use it. Plus, you have no idea how much energy it actually takes. You have no concept of how much.
Alright, fine. I'll just wing it and see what happens.
Aaron proceeds to wake up Devin and Zeke.
Guys, wake up! What are you doing? We have to get to school, come on!
What?
How did we fall asleep on the sidewalk?
Guys, we can sit here and question why you two passed out here, or we can get to school before we're late. If we hurry, we can still get to school with about 5 minutes to spare.
5 minutes?
There's no way we passed out for that long for that to be the case.
Well, enough talking then, let's go!
The three proceed to run to school.
You know what's weird is, I had the craziest dream. And all of us were there.
Dude, me too. There was some kind of purple storm and nothing made sense.
Yeah, that sounds very similar to mine. And Aaron stood relatively calm and was telling us what to do.
Bro, how do we have the same dream?
Starting to worry about the direction of the conversation, Aaron cuts in.
Guys, we can keep talking and wasting time, or we can focus on running and not be late to school.
The two are suspicious of Aaron's behavior, but with nothing else particular on the matter, they just follow along and rush to school. The rest of the day proceeded without any complications. Some could even say, oddly enough, that felt like any other day. Chi-Chi-Ra proceeded in his analysis of Devin and Zeke, and was able to educate Aaron here and there a little bit more about some of the basics he should know. At the end of the day, some students have the opportunity to take time in the library for free study, which allows them to take the time for anything they may be struggling with. Aaron figured this would be a great time to learn in-depth details from Chi-Chi-Ra, but his solitude was very quickly interrupted.
Who wants to be Shay? I forgot. Shay and was it Claire? Carol.
Are these women's?
Yeah, they're women. Shay is the main girl.
Nico, do your girl voice.
Alright, sorry, I was like scrolling down to see when the next time I talk is, and it's like fucking never, apparently. Alright, yeah, I'll do Shay.
That works.
I'll be
do Carol.
C.
Oh, you want to be Carol? Go for it.
Okay.
Yeah, have Jackson be Carol. Welcome back to Land of Normal People, Aaron.
That's a little rude of you to say some. God damn it. That's a little bit of a rude thing to say to someone as a hello.
Yeah, I'm not even sure what that statement is supposed to mean, Shaylin.
I just haven't seen or heard anything strange from you in the past 2 days. You usually have your schizophrenic episodes at least once a day and like jerk off in the corner or something. Or once every other day, but you've clearly broken the streak. We're on day like...
Day 3.
Yeah, day 3.
He lost his gooning streak, dude.
This is a very funny human. I sense a new energy I haven't felt from you before. What emotion is this? And that smell.
Erection.
Aaron's face begins to flush.
Listen, Shay, I'm doing my best to manage my situation. Some days I'm good, some days I'm not.
Well, I'm glad to see you're doing good. Is that your boner? You
Guys,
just happen to
please,
see me?
don't do this to my... I respected your guys' stories. Can we just, like, you know...
I'm sorry for the way I acted the other day, too, by the way.
It's fine. Jaren wasn't a huge help to the situation either.
So I wouldn't even worry about him.
Don't try to play it off just because you like him, Shay. That's not fair to Aaron. You've known him for longer.
Aaron and Shaylin have been friends for 12 years, which in reality is a time before they had a concept of what friendship ever was. These two grew up in the same neighborhood, and their parents were always great friends. By the time both of them hit 7th grade, Aaron realized he liked Shaylin in a more than just a friend. He didn't want to ruin this friendship with something like a relationship, so he kept quiet. Unfortunately, he waited too long, and right as he was about to get the courage to ask her, in walked Jared, a young new freshman star quarterback for the high school. From that day, Aaron never really liked Jared, but Jared has made it easier and given Aaron more reasons not to like him.
It's not that obvious, is it?
It kinda is.
Yeah, Shay. I just don't think you see it because of how much you like him.
Aaron rolls his eyes.
OMG, Carol, shut up! It's not like that.
It sure seems that way.
Almost as if on cue, or even by clockwork, Jared walks in.
This is you, Tanner.
Oh boy, I get to be. He's like
Tanner does have big Jared energy.
He's like
Just
the
do the
bully
narrator voice.
football quarterback guy. I feel like the narrator voice makes him both say it, but I gotta do something else.
Do you like a 80s high school bully voice?
There you go.
Nah.
Quick
I feel
review
like
of
he's
the
supposed to be more.
short episode 1. Find out what your voice was there.
Maybe I'll just do a surfer guy voice. How about that? Well, it sure sounds like I'm being talked about over here, and why am I not surprised that it's you three?
Hey, Jared, we were just...
How convenient of you to show up when least expected.
Oh, come on, guys. Please don't do this.
Yeah, Aaron. What did Jared ever do to make you this way?
Are you serious right now?
Aaron is very clearly getting irritated with this situation. I assume this is supposed to be Jared, not G. Oh wait, no, never mind.
I've felt this emotion before. I just didn't get to feel it up close last time. Is this what your anger feels like? It's very strong and very specific.
I don't get what there is to be so mad about, Aaron. I can't fucking read in this phone's voice.
That's crazy.
I feel you, man.
I just don't get what's so... I'm fucking trying. I just don't get what there is to be so mad about, Aaron.
Yeah.
I already forgot the fucking voice I was doing for this
Surfer
guy.
guy.
Surfer.
Ed did? Yeah, schizo freak. Why don't you go... Why don't... What?
We.
Oh, we don't want you to go and have another episode now, do we?
He's actually been pretty good for the past 2 days. I'm pretty sure we're on...
Day 3.
Yeah, day 3!
That doesn't matter. He's probably just saving up for a big one later.
The group falls silent.
All right. Well, looks like there's no fun to be had here. Do you two want to come and hang out with the team at the pizza shop down the road?
Yeah, sure. That sounds great.
Yeah, I guess I could tag along.
Well, I'm headed out now, so don't be late.
Jared leaves the library.
I almost read that sorry anon. It's a fucking green text or something. Sorry, Aaron, but I'm not gonna miss out on this opportunity.
Fuck.
That got me so bad,
killed him.
Nico. Fuck. Shaylin quickly follows behind.
Hey, sorry about this whole thing, Aaron. This seems to happen a lot.
Don't worry about it. I'm used to it at this point.
Well, it doesn't excuse the fact that it happens.
I'll get over it. Not something I'm used to handling wait. Not like it's something I'm not used to handling anyway. I've made it this far.
Aaron fakes a smile.
Just stay strong. Things will get better. See ya!
Carol quickly leaves the library.
I'm so done with them.
I don't know. That last female didn't seem so bad.
Who, Carol? She's pretty cool. She understands at least. It helps.
Yeah, but I am confused about one thing.
What's that?
That emotion I felt coming from you when you were talking to that first female.
Aaron starts getting flushed again.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Do you forget that some spirits can thrive off of just your emotions? I think lying to a spirit about them is just plain dumb.
You mean to tell me, for thousands of years you've been around, you never experienced this emotion, ever?
It is one I felt, but I'm not familiar with it.
Well, you see...
Before Aaron has time to explain, Devin and Zeke walk in.
Hey, dude, what's up? Who saw Carol walking out here a couple minutes ago? Was it just her here?
I mean, it's hardly ever just her.
Shoot, dude, don't tell me. Shay and Jared were here too.
Well, don't act so surprised.
Come on, man. We can pretty much expect it at this point.
Dang. Well, sorry we couldn't be here to back you up this time, man.
Don't worry about it. I'll be fine.
Are you really not gonna tell her how you feel?
Yeah, man. I'm surprised you haven't said anything yet.
Or at least hinted at it.
Guys, she clearly has no interest in me. Plus, she's chasing after Jared. I think it's realistic to say I'm not even on her radar.
Okay, dude. First thing, that's Critter Tech. Second thing, Jared is an upperclassman, so of course that makes sense.
Yeah, plus you haven't even tried? Girls by default go for guys like that, as little sense as that may make.
It doesn't matter if I haven't tried. I've known her for so long. With the way she is now, I think it would just be awkward and ruin what's left of what you could call a friendship.
Dude, if you've loved her for so long, I think it's at least fair to both of you to let her know.
Fair for both of us?
Yeah, man, otherwise you're just around here creating this weird tension that she doesn't even know there is.
It's not fair to your emotions. Plus, you have no clue what her thoughts are towards you.
Yeah, it's clear she's chasing after Jared with no results. It's been like this for 2 years, almost 3.
Yeah, man, something has to give.
Yeah, because if something isn't gonna give, it's going to break.
Plus!
Alright, I get it.
Quiet in the library.
Aaron, Devin, and Zeke sit in silence for a moment.
Guys, I'm glad you care so much, but I know what I'm doing.
Sure doesn't seem like it.
Yeah, well, no one asked you, Devin.
Quiet in the library!
Silence.
Guys, we really need to calm down, or we just need to continue this elevated conversation somewhere else.
So, how was your guys' classes?
They're pretty normal. I heard you didn't really have any episodes for a while. That's always good to hear.
Yeah, man, you get those like every day.
Yeah, I've had some help, like I had mentioned before.
Oh yeah, I remember that. You never did mention what or who the people are that help you do.
Damn,
What
man.
the fuck was that like?
What is wrong with you guys?
Just for context, I'm not the one. There
fell
were like
apart.
a couple where we've contributed to like that's a fuck up. All these other ones are not me.
The title of this episode is definitely gonna incorporate dyslexia somehow.
Oh,
That was
1,000%.
I'm still gonna have dyslexia, you don't
believe me.
Schizophrenic dyslexia. There we go. Hot take. Where were we?
Come to think of it, that was also the last morning I recall you have a skitsmare. Me and Devin were arguing, so maybe you were doing your thing then, but you were still acting weird.
Yeah, come to think of it. That was at the same time this morning we passed out on the sidewalk.
Aaron begins to panic as he tries to change the conversation.
Huh? What a weird coincidence. Maybe you guys didn't get enough sleep that night.
Nah, dude, I remember getting extra sleep because I've been falling behind as he chuckles. Am I supposed to chuckle there? Hee hee hee.
God damn.
Yeah, oh my god, Jax. Yeah, and my parents told me if I caught me up past 11 o'clock, they would have to cut my bedtime back even further.
Dude, your parents still make you go to bed by a certain time? My parents have given up on that about a year ago. Hee hee.
Jeez.
You got this, Nico.
Hey man, I just love and respect my parents. I can do whatever I want once I'm out of their house on my own. The voice is falling apart. I'm forgetting how to do it now. It's turning into like some terribly racist impression of a
Dude,
Japanese
just do your own
man.
voice.
I can't do that.
It doesn't have to be.
It'll
I
lose
modeled
the
these
je ne
characters
sais
after
quoi
you
of the
guys.
scene. We're gonna live outside our parents' house way longer than we're going to live in them.
Yeah, hopefully that's the case.
What's that supposed to mean?
The two begin arguing in the middle of the library. This was just the break Aaron needed.
Perfect. They're distracted with arguing. Now's my perfect chance to come up with a better excuse.
Or you could tell them the truth.
What? How are you in my head right now?
Of all the things I've taught and shown you, you were going to question telepathic communication? This is basic level stuff.
Can I learn it?
Well, it's basic, but not that basic. You will learn it in time, but for now, let's focus on what's in front of us.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
Alright, that's enough out of you three! If you can't respect the silence and sanctity of the library, then I'm going to have to ask you to leave.
Zeke and Devin are shocked at first, then walk away in disappointment once they realize it really is their fault. Aaron, not wanting to be left in the dust, quickly packs up his stuff and follows behind them.
Hey guys, wait up!
Hey!
Yeah, I know. Quiet in the library. I'm already leaving.
That was unfortunate. Sorry for getting you kicked out of the library, dude.
Yeah, that was our fault. Maybe we could help you study to make up for it.
Nah, it's alright. I'll take care of it on my own.
Nah, man, it's fine. We got you kicked out. The least we could do is help you.
Yeah, dude, that's what friends are for.
Well,
He says, forming a big smile. Sorry.
it's okay. Well, unfortunately, it's not really something you guys can help me with.
What? Is it like college level stuff or something?
No.
Is it extra credit stuff?
No.
That doesn't make sense. We all have a majority of the same classes. What is it we wouldn't be able to help you with?
It's kinda hard to explain.
You're fumbling this! Just tell them!
What's so hard to explain about it? Just use your words. It's not like we won't understand.
Well, I'm almost confident you wouldn't understand.
Alright, that's a bit of a low blow even for you. Remember this here? Best friends?
He's got a point. You're just making it difficult for yourself.
This may be normal to you, but this is the real world and reality-shattering information. I can't just tell them.
You humans, always making things so complicated.
Wait, why does this making me remember something? I think you said something about explaining something to us?
When?
That morning when we passed out?
Aaron starts getting worried again.
Weird. He also said in my dreams he planned on explaining it to us.
Do you guys know how crazy you sound right now?
Suddenly, out of nowhere, Chi-Ra pops into existence, startling everyone in the group. Aaron is astounded that this is even happening right now. Zeke and Devin are stuck in disbelief, not comprehending what they are looking at or what just happened.
Hello, you two. My name is Chi-Ra, and I'm here to explain.
Woo!
That was great, dude. It makes me think of like Yu Yu Hakusho combined with ghost stories.
The story's just a coping mechanism, but we'll ignore that and not worry about what that's supposed to mean.
Yeah, what the fuck does that mean? This entire time I've been imagining Chi-Ra looks like the little dragon in Mulan for some reason. And also, of course, every time I do the Trump voice, even though it's a terrible impression, I do the fucking hand gestures. And I feel like I cannot do the voice unless I'm doing the hand gestures. They have to go hand in hand, I suppose.
Very fun.
Dude, I can't.
Well, there we go. That's all our stories. I don't remember, because we did the last short story thing 3 years ago. Do we vote on which one's our favorite, or how did we do that?
We did vote.
We have done that in the past.
Okay.
All right, let's all anonymously right now. Let's all type out our
How do we anonymously
who we want to vote for, and then send it on the count of 3.
Oh, no.
Oh, okay.
Let me think.
I don't have a problem with just saying it out loud.
It's more ambiguous if we type it or something. I don't know.
Is it truly?
It's under all of our accounts. I don't really see what kind of a difference this makes, but okay, I'm ready.
I'm ready.
3, 2, 1.
Holy cow.
Holy smokes,
Perhaps
there it is.
unsurprisingly, Nico wins.
Yeah.
Yay! The reason I said we should do it that way is because every time we do this out loud, we just end in a 4-way tie.
Very true. Well, congratulations, Nico. You put a lot of effort into it, and it all worked out for you.
I mean, hey, if you guys
Thank you,
want, we
thank
can
you.
go through episodes 3, 4, and 5 of Schizophrenic.
You have those written?
Yeah, I've had these written since...
We're already at 2 hours and 20 minutes.
I was
so
joking.
I think,
That's a joke, Tanner. I'm saying that I've
Gotcha.
had these stories written for years.
Don't worry, man. In another 2 years' time, we can do them.
I'll bring it up
yeah.
sooner than that.
Okay, folks, we are back from a momentary piss break, and we are doing something brand new that will continue on for years to come. We're starting a new annual thing, and that is the Guapish Video Game Fantasy Draft. Just so the audience doesn't go apeshit in the comments, yes, I am ripping this off directly from Sacred Symbols Podcast Fantasy Draft.
Hang on a sec. This isn't an original idea?
No, of
Ah,
course not.
damn it.
We don't have original ideas on this channel. Let's not.
That's
be
not
crazy
true at
here.
all.
Our one claim to fame are the quizzes. I haven't seen anyone else do that, and even it's not that original.
Guys, we're making a tier list of every movie. Name one other channel that's making a tier list of every movie.
That is
true.
true. That is that. As long as we narrow it down to that specific of a claim, I think yes, we are the only ones doing that.
There we go.
But anyway, the way this is working is we are each drafting 6 games that we believe will be releasing in the year 2026, and at the end of the year, we will be seeing whose selection of games has the highest average rating on Metacritic. Maybe once that time comes around, we'll decide on if there's a reward or something.
I don't want to get punished again. Please don't make me do this.
Sure, we'll do a reward instead of a punishment. How about that?
Let's go.
Yay.
And the way it works is we're drafting 6 games. Only the top 5 will count. So that gives you 1 free pick in case one of your games gets canceled or delayed or something. And the order we are going to be doing this in is reverse order of the Game Awards predictions turnout, which means for our first annual video game fantasy draft, Dylan gets to make the first pick. What are you picking?
I am gonna pick... Pokemon Pokopia.
Pokopia.
GTA 6! GTA 6! GTA 6!
Damn. I'm sorry, Jackson. I restrained myself, but Nico's a son of a bitch.
Somebody had to pick it. I'm next, right? I am going to pick Pragmata.
Pragmata.
However you pronounce it.
That's a good pick. I like that one.
I was thinking about that one. I can very easily see it being bad, though.
I've seen people talk well about it in like beta gameplay, but who knows how it will actually be.
Yeah.
And then my number one draft pick is going to be Resident Evil Requiem.
That's one I was absolutely thinking about.
Dylan, what is your second draft pick?
Let's go ahead and do Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade.
Okay.
Not a terrible choice at all. Next up here, I'm going to be going with Fire Emblem Fortune's Weave.
I'm gonna go Control Resonant.
You son of a bitch. I was going to take that one. Control Resonant, right? Sorry, I'm writing all of these down as I'm going. My second overall pick is going to be Slay the Spire 2.
Oh, I didn't know they were making a sequel.
Yeah.
Alright, back to you, Dylan.
Let's go ahead and go with Animal Crossing, New Crossing.
Okay.
Those usually tend to do pretty good.
I'm going to say Ace Combat 8.
Dude,
Interesting.
Good one. That was on my short list if a bunch of other stuff gets picked for me.
My next one is Neo 3.
Damn.
Solid choice, solid choice. For my third pick, I am going to go for Marvel's Wolverine.
Okay.
That's a safe one.
Alright, Dylan, we're on to your fourth pick here.
Let's go with Styx, Blades of Greed.
Interesting, okay.
I know the first one was rather popular.
Yeah. It has a fairly dedicated fan base, I believe.
Yeah.
Alright, mine is going to be Zero Parades for Dead Spies.
Zero Parades for Dead Spies. What is that? I've never even heard of that one.
That's the game coming out that's made by the creators of Disco Elysium.
That is a very safe, not safe, but that's a strong pick then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anywho, my next one is Phantom Blade Zero.
Fuck! I wanted to pick that.
Damn.
I like how he's screaming fuck at the fourth pick.
I was eventually gonna pick it. I didn't think anyone else would think of that, except like maybe you.
Okay, my fourth pick. I'm dipping into the indie realm again. I am going for Mugenics.
Shit.
Damn.
Damn it.
Got him again, boys. Got him again. Is that me now?
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with Code Vein 2.
Herm.
What was that, Jackson?
I was be going Herm.
Alright, Nico,
Alright,
your
sorry,
fifth
I'm looking up something. Okay, yeah, it should be fine then. I'm gonna go with Yakuza Kiwami 3.
pick. Okay.
My next one is Crimson Desert.
My fifth pick is going to be Marvel Token.
Interesting.
Okay, and we are on to our final picks.
Final pick. I suppose I will go with Arknight's Endfield.
Okay.
This is where it gets a little bit more dicey. I'll go ahead and say the 007 First Light.
Okay.
I almost picked that one.
That was gonna be my last one too. Bummer. I'm gonna pick Onimusha.
Okay, and my sixth and final pick, I'm gonna go for my dark horse pick and say Marathon.
Okay. Really putting
That's
it's an interesting one to gamble with.
dude, I pray for your health and prosperity, but from knowing what I know in exposure to the company,
Listen, man, here's my theory, is that the success of Arc Raiders has introduced a sufficiently large amount of casual players to the extraction genre that a AAA, like very high budget excursion into the genre is now kind of prepped for success. Assuming it comes out and is good.
hey, man, Destiny 3 has been confirmed, so maybe Marathon can happen.
Yeah. What's interesting is, out of my original top 6 choices, the only one that got taken was Neo 3.
I think I had one that Oh, yeah, Nico took it. It was GTA 6, but that's an obvious one.
But there we go, guys. That's our picks. I'll read them off real quick for the audience. So Dylan has drafted Poketopia? Is that how it's pronounced?
It's Pokemon Pokopia or something like that.
Pokopia? So it's a Pokemon thing.
Yeah.
Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade. Animal Crossing New Crossing. Styx, Blades of Greed. Code Vein 2, and Ark Knights Enfield. Nico has drafted GTA 6, Fire Emblem Fortune's Reeve, Ace Combat 8, Zero Parades for Dead Spies, Yakuza Kiwami 3, and 007 First Light. Jackson has drafted Pragmata, Control Resonant, Neo 3, Phantom Blade 0, Crimson Desert, and Onimusha, and I have drafted Resident Evil Requiem, Slay the Spire 2, Marvel's Wolverine, Mugenics, Marvel Token, and Marathon.
I gotta say, one thing about Slay the Spire 2, shout out to because like every fucking indie game under the sun, it's like the first game, they have like this little unique art style that they got going on, and the second one, they just completely switch over to being 3D. It's terrible. I don't like it. Awful trend. Slay the Spire 2 isn't doing that, though. Congrats to them.
Badass. I think we have fairly evenly matched lists here. It'll be interesting to see how this turns out.
Yeah, I'd say so. There isn't really one that's screaming, oh, this guy's fucked.
Okay, Nico, invent a segue into Guapish at the movies.
I can't wait to hop on a little segue here that'll bring us on over to Guapish at the movies.
Guapish at the movies?
Oh, Timmy, listen to me. You are not a faggot.
Jackson, what did we watch this week?
The Patreon pick this week, as requested by Hunter on Patreon, thank you for the request, aka Steve Harvey's Ghost, was the 1996 film Homeward Bound 2, Lost in San Francisco. And if you also want to get your movie picked just like Hunter did, then go to guapish.com/Patreon or patreon.com/Guapish. Goes $1 a month, get your movie in the raffle, and it might just get picked just like this one. And of course, this is a movie about some animals, that being 2 dogs and a cat, that get lost in San Francisco, as the name suggests. They have a hoot and a holler as their family tries to find them on their way back from Canada on a family trip. And and then it all works out and the dog eats a pizza at the end. It's beautiful.
It's
Poetry at
gorgeous.
its finest.
Fun fact, they made the dogs kiss by smearing baby food on their faces.
I was definitely assuming, like, because my girlfriend, we were watching this film together, and she was talking about, how do they get them to fucking do that? And I was like, surely they just, like, put some fucking peanut butter or some shit in their mouths, right? How happy to say it. Oh my god, I can't speak today. The fucking reading, it did us in. I'm done with this podcast already.
Dude, I'm still going strong. Get over
Good
it.
fun fact, Tanner.
Thank you.
Dylan, what did you rate the movie?
What did I rate the movie? Scrolling. Give me a second. Homeward Bound, I gave a C-.
Holy shit.
What?
I'm also
What?
at a C-.
Oh my, Jackson, where are you?
Yeah, I'm also at a
wolves.
C-.
Oh,
3 wolves!
I'm also at a C-. I
What
thought
the
you were
fuck?
gonna fucking love this movie, Dylan.
let me hear me out. I will say, I expected this. I can recognize a wholesome movie. I appreciate the character and personality this movie has. However, it does lack in multiple departments. I am thoroughly impressed. I think we can step back for a minute and recognize how hard it is to train animals to do movie shit, especially when they are the central focus, and I think they do that well. The voices they give the animals, also pretty good. For the rest of the movie, there's not really anything going for it, you know? It's a fine watch, it's kinda boring. There's just people being incompetent humans, and by that I'm mostly referring to the guys who catch dogs for money. And this movie just doesn't do anything crazy, man. I like it, I enjoy it. It's just not a crazy production.
I mostly just enjoy it in the sense that, you know, I like watching cute little animals run around.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm
much.
a big fan of films from this era, you know? We don't have any of this woke nonsense bleeding into it. We just get to watch some wholesome animal action.
Yeah.
I don't know about all that, but I would definitely agree that they're...
What?
I want the woke bullshit.
No. They really just don't make movies like this anymore, though, you know?
No, they don't.
It feels like it's such a time capsule from a different era. Granted, I was not even alive in this era, but, you know, take me back, dude. Take me back. 96.
1996. Damn, I missed it by 2 years.
Yeah, this movie is cute. It's a fine enough like children's movie. I think the biggest detractors for me are just like the presentation. Obviously they can't have the fucking dogs talk, but I think it's just incredibly hard for me to take anything seriously with just like some human talking, then it's just has like a picture of a dog, you know. I just think it's kind of dumb. And the main character is just impossibly annoying, which is like the whole point of his character.
Oh my god!
I fucking hate him so much.
I fucking hated him so much. He was the most annoying, insufferable part of this film.
Yeah.
Loved it when the cat was on screen. Big fan of the cat. Reminds me of my very own, but the main dog, I hated him.
I was gonna ask who we're acknowledging. I mean, because I could see an argument for like the little boy being one of the main characters, but I figured we were talking about the dog.
There's nothing wrong with any of the humans. They're all totally fine humans. The kid was a bad child actor, as they normally are, but you know, it's it's fine. He was a child actor. I don't expect much from them. I did mention this too, my closing thought on the movie. I do think the ending was kind of cute. I am not going to lie. It worked on me. And him coming back, them all being happy, and then the dog going all crazy when he got his little fucking girlfriend to stay with him. It's cute. It's a fine enough closing ending for a movie like this.
I did
tear perhaps
up
a bit saccharine, but you know, what's to be expected from some paltry child film?
I don't know what it is that the 90s does, but it always gives me the same vibe. I always get these, like, feelings whenever I watch 90s movies. There's not really a way about it. It's just whatever the 90s vibe is, you know? And this movie has
It's schmaltz.
Yeah.
Do we have any other thoughts on Homeward Bound 2, Lost in San Francisco?
Shout out to that cat for saving a kitten from a fucking burning building.
Yeah.
I like the dogs.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I like the dogs too. I like watching them sprint around. Those were my favorite parts of the movie.
I will say, because this came up as like a tiny bit, would you guys have like, because obviously we've watched another Animal Central movie, but obviously in that one, and of course I'm referring to cats and dogs, they try to animate the animals talking. What is preferred here? The animals like CGI talking, or what we were presented with here? Because honestly, I'm more fine with this, to an extent.
This makes it feel more timeless at the very least. It's not like limited, or at the very least fucking held back by the technology at the time to where we look at it now and we're like, that's fucking disgusting. But, you know, cats and dogs does have a bit of charm to it because of that too.
Yeah, and they at least tried to cover it up with not always having the animals look at the camera when they're talking.
I'd prefer the way this film does it overall, though.
Okay.
Yeah, I guess I'd do this one, because at least then I could be like, yeah, it's an internal monologue or something.
Yeah.
I would agree.
Okay.
Though, to be fair, I remember literally nothing about cats and dogs, so it's impossible to say if I even can conjure up what that one looked like.
Don't worry about it, man. I watched it all the time as a child. It's burned into my memory.
Yeah, it was in one ear and out the other for me, apparently.
In one eye and out the other.
Oh, God.
Yeah. Oh, I just listened to it like a podcast, actually, fun fact. C-.
I'm going to stick with my... Yeah, C-.
C-. Yeah.
This is the first time in a long-ass time we've had a unanimous rating.
I'm pretty sure last time it was also like C- or something.
I was going to say, I don't even think it's been like that crazy long. I feel like we had one recently, but maybe I'm just completely tripping on that.
No, I think we did have one fairly recently.
There's
Maybe,
not like
who
a
knows?
way to look up that specific thing, is there?
Funnily enough, there previously I did have some sort of design that changed the way that like the rank looked if it was unanimous, but I removed
Yeah, you
that.
had the little gold tags.
Yeah, that no longer exists. Maybe I'll add something like a filter or some shit. I don't know. It doesn't matter. It lands at a C-. Who could have guessed?
Yeah.
Fantastic.
The next movie we watched this week was Nico's Pig, that being the 2010 sequel to Happiness, Life During Wartime.
pick
I
that.
didn't pick that.
What the fuck, dude? It feels like a Nico pick. Dude, Tanner picked it. Please tell us about it.
Nico functionally picked it, but it was technically my pick.
Yeah.
Life During Wartime is a sequel to Happiness, where it's all the same characters, but they've been cast as different actors, and so it's really hard to keep track of what's happening. God damn, the problem is with this guy's films is like, the plot is so loose that it's hard to really wrap it up. We have a couple different threads. We have the mousy girl who, what is she even trying to... She's, like, going places, and she's bummed out, and everyone's an asshole to her, I guess, and then her boyfriend kills herself, and then Her storyline ends with her seeing the ghost of her boyfriend. And then, does she kill herself? What happens to her after that?
No, he wants her to kill herself, and she says, no, I'm not going to do that.
And then we just never see her again?
Yeah, that's how
Okay, so that's that plot line. Then we have the family from the previous film where the dad got arrested for being a pedophile, and the kid has grown up without his dad, and he's like, what the fuck do I do? And he's becoming a man, and the woman is now dating a different guy. There's a lot of references to Israel, which I'm not totally clear on the reason for that is. But the pedophile dad gets released and he visits his son, the son from the previous film that he said he would never fuck. And then they just kind of say hi and he leaves. See, the thing is, thematically,
yeah.
the thing this movie is going for is that bad stuff happens and you kind of just has to live with it. There is no, like, truly getting over something. And so as a result, obviously, all of the plot points don't really have endings, or even beginnings, particularly. So, like, describing the plot of this is fucking impossible. But that's the
You're
plot.
doing great,
You should have led with that.
You're right, I should have started with that. But anyway, that's the plot. Fun fact, with the sex scene with Harvey and the mom, the crew didn't take into account the fact that they were standing on tile, and so they would splash them with water to make them look sweaty, but as soon as they started filming, they slipped and almost fucking killed themselves.
Oh my god. That's a good fun fact. Why is it the Jewish guy is the only character's name you remembered?
Harvey?
Yeah.
They just say his name a lot.
Well, hold on. For one, they're all Jewish, so, like, let's clear that up right now.
He's the most Jewish, though.
That's true.
He's like a caricature.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he's very clearly supposed to be a reference to Harvey Weinstein.
I don't think nothing he does is reminiscent of that.
Okay. If you say so.
Tanner, where'd you rank this one?
I don't know. For the first time in a while, I have no clue where to rank this.
Based? Nick, how about you?
Oh my god. Dude, me? I certainly do not like this as much as the previous film. I'm at a B right now. Dylan, where are you at?
I'll tell you where I'm at. It completely went over my head that this is a franchise pick. I didn't know this was a sequel to Happiness, but I remember watching the movie and thinking, wow, this movie really feels like Happiness right now, and maybe that's why I don't like it. I gave it a C+.
Okay.
That is a shockingly higher rank. I expected much worse. I'm at a B-. I also did not like this one as much as Happiness, and it...
No.
Yeah,
it's not as bad as the
strong.
other one.
What?
Hmm?
Oh, like graphically, I guess? Like in its content?
Like, it's not as disturbing as the last one.
True. But it's also not as funny as a result.
I didn't care. It didn't affect me either way.
It's smaller in scope, and it's interesting. It literally just feels like an inferior version of Happiness, because it does a lot of the same things. Like, a lot of the humor comes from just the absurdity of situations and, you know, subtleties in dialogue. But there was just a lot more of that. I think it was done better in Happiness. And I don't know, I feel like even just like the cinematography and just general scope of the film was just like a subdued version of its predecessor, and it just feels kind of like pointless to me almost. Like, there's some funny scenes, granted. I gave it a B-. I think it's pretty funny generally, but it's just also kind of whatever and didn't really land super well.
I missed Nico's rank. What was your rank, Nico?
Mine was B.
Ah.
One of the biggest, like, strange things about this film is the fucking casting, because it's like, I guess they just couldn't get the same actors, that's fine, whatever. It's like, sometimes it's just gotta happen. But, like, the fucking pervert guy from the first movie is, like, the one who's, like, dating Joy at the very beginning of this one. Maybe they're married, I don't fucking know. But why'd they cast a black guy now? I just did not realize those are supposed to be the same guy.
What?
It's
yeah, remember, Dylan, the guy with the glasses who's, like, jacking off and, like, putting shit on the wall?
I think I rated Happiness close to F. What do you think I remember from that movie? It's not an F now, or
the
whatever.
The guy jacking off and, like, putting shit on the wall?
You'd think if you had such a strong reaction to it, you would remember it.
No, I don't care for these movies. They have literally no effect on me. I am so indifferent towards these kinds of movies. I don't understand them. They're whatever to me. I don't care.
I really should have watched Happiness again, because, like, so many of these plot lines I just don't fucking remember. Who's the Andy guy she keeps hallucinating?
That's the guy who the beginning of this film like basically mirrors the beginning of the previous one, where it's the guy who she was on a date with, and she was like, "Oh, I think we should break up," and then he kills himself. It's that guy.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Nico, I'm glad you brought up the black guy thing, because genuinely I forgot that the mouse girl and the pervert got together. So I genuinely had no fucking idea who the black guy was. I thought it was like the that random immigrant that like pump and dumped her. I was just so confused.
Gotcha.
Yeah, the casting is so strange.
Wait,
I just assumed it was some whole new character who had a similar problem with it, just like fucking calling people up and jacking off.
tell me I'm overthinking the title. What the fuck is life during wartime supposed to mean?
Yeah, Tanner, say your whole shtick again.
I think it's just like your whole life is wartime, and so all life is during wartime, or like emotions are war or something like that.
I think you had it pretty good when you were talking about it. Like, basically, there's just shit that's happening. There's suffering that's happening. You know, things just happen. You have to go through it, and that's kind of like what war is like. And it's trying to be like an allegory for just life in general, hence the name.
Yeah.
Huh.
There's a lot of really strange parts to this film, particularly like in the first half or so. Like when Joy initially goes to like that restaurant, and she's just like talking to this fucking waitress or whatever. It feels so off and stilted during that section. I'm just not entirely sure what they were trying to do there. But then like the fucking ghost of her ex coming back and telling her how much he fucking hates her is pretty funny. I liked that quite a bit. Speaking of Joy though, the new actress they got for her is strange. It feels like she doesn't really want to be in the movie and is like terrified of every other actor she has to interact with.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was intentional.
My girlfriend observed that she's
so.
Moaning Myrtle from Harry Potter.
She is.
Oh.
Also, the guy from Jurassic Park, that was the other guy. It was very funny seeing him in this movie.
Gotcha.
I don't know who you're
Do you guys
talking
think this
about.
movie would work as like a standalone film?
No.
No. Oh,
Yeah,
wait,
I
no,
don't think
never
so.
mind.
Yeah,
I got the
no.
casting wrong. He's the mayor from Godzilla 1998.
Yeah, that guy, yeah.
That guy.
Okay.
The very not disguised allusion to Roger Ebert.
Whatever that means.
Mm-hmm.
Did they mention anything about everybody being a Jew in the first movie? Why is that such like a big thing in this one?
No, I do not recall that being a part of the
I
previous
do
film.
remember
It's so
asking that
strange.
question. I was like, why? Like, everybody was like Jewish at one point, like via convenient plot script or whatever. And then I ended up asking myself, why the fuck is everybody in this movie Jewish, and what does that mean towards the movie?
Todd Solondz is a noticer.
It's so stupid, man. I don't get this movie. Granted, I gave it a higher rating than the other one. That's also just because this one didn't do as much offensively bad as the last one.
You know, that's the thing though, is that the stuff that was really offensive was what was really funny about the first one. Like
I'm
the
glad it
super
works on you
awkward
guys.
Conversations with the dad and the son talking about sex shit is absolutely hysterical, and it was completely non-present. They tried to do some sort of emulations with that, like with the mom and the son, but it didn't land at all. Like, I think the closest they got to a scene like that was with the son and Harvey in the bedroom. I thought that was kind of funny, especially with like the setup with the if a guy touches you, that's a rape thing from earlier.
Or like,
But,
or
yeah.
that portion at the beginning when the mom just comes home and she's like, oh, he made me wet. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking to your underage child about this for? Stop! And that's when I knew I wasn't gonna like the movie.
Yeah.
This movie did lure me in with false expectation. The name Life During Wartime in the poster made me think it was going to be a much different vibe. And then the second I started watching the movie, I was like, okay, it literally is just going to be happiness too. I thought it was going to be totally different in scope. No, it's just a straight up direct sequel, and that caught me off guard.
If you had told me this was Happiness 2, I still don't believe you guys, but like, I have no choice but to believe you, because they both give me the same reaction.
If they had the same actors, I'm sure it'd be a lot easier to connect it with you. It's just, it's hard to draw the same lines because everyone is pretty different, honestly.
Yeah, I think like the like fucking famous like author sister or whatever the fuck, she was the only one where it was like, yeah, they're close enough. Everyone else is like, I just don't. I guess I need to re-familiarize myself with who the fuck you're supposed to be.
Yeah, I will say that was probably my favorite character, just the fucking bitch sister. Her crash out, like her super narcissistic crash out. I feel like I've had conversations with people very similar to that, and it's well done.
Yeah. I would have liked to see more done with some of these characters here, just have them expanded upon more, because this film is like quite a bit shorter than the first one, like by a sizable margin, and just in general it's on the shorter end. It's like an hour and a half, so like getting an extra 10 or 15 minutes with a couple of them would have gone a long way. Like there's some pretty good scenes, particularly in like the fucking last third of the movie, where we do get some good ones back to back that really stand out, like fucking when the pedophile father ends up meeting his grown-up son Billy again. That was probably the standout scene for me. Great stuff there. Would have liked to see a lot more of Billy, because like he was the character I was most interested in returning to, because like, yeah, how the fuck do you like have to come back after that, man?
Obviously, you come back as gay and doing research on gay animals.
He is gay,
yeah, exactly.
though.
Like that's interesting stuff, dude. I would have liked to see more about that.
No, I'm with you. I definitely feel like the plot line with Billy and the dad was like the most neglected in the movie. It was kind of an unsatisfying ending to their arc, where it's just the meetup and then that's it.
Yeah. And at the same time, like the stuff with the dad, like all before that felt like it just kind of dragged, like particularly when he was like talking to the fucking lady who he hooked up with. It was just kind of like, this doesn't really end up going anywhere, so would have kind of preferred that time to go somewhere else.
Does he kill himself at the end of the first movie?
No, he goes to jail.
Oh, okay. You guys talking about this now, how it's just a continuation of the other one, and everybody's saying he killed himself, but he was actually in jail. Now it made me wonder if he faked his death at the end of the first movie, but oh well.
No, like the whole thing about that was the mom was telling her kids that because they didn't want to know that their dad is a pedophile.
No, I get that. I'm just, checking.
Well, fellas, do we have anything else to say about life during wartime?
No, I don't think so.
Strange movie.
Why does happiness give me the sadness?
You don't understand comedy?
I just made a joke, though, Tanner.
Comedy comes in threes. Tanner, you stick it at the same rank. Or, well, no, you never figured out where you're putting it. Where the fuck are you putting this movie?
We've massively been bagging on this entire review. It has some interesting stuff, but yeah, it's just like, I feel like it kind of misses the mark on most of what it's even going for. So I've decided, at least for now, to go with a C+.
Based! Okay. Unsurprisingly, I'm sticking to my C+.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm also sticking to my B-.
You know what? I'll go ahead and drop mine down to a B- as well.
2 wolves! Whoa. 2 wolves!
Yeah. Oh. 2 wolves that aren't that far apart.
2 wolves in close proximity.
We're literally fucking.
We have to make it a shirt, dude. We have to make it a shirt.
Anyways, it landed a B- overall. So cool.
Wow.
I don't know what the first one landed at, like B something maybe.
The first one was like an A or an A-, I think.
A-?
Yeah, it was up there.
Okay, yeah. A pretty substantial drop then. Bummer for the Happiness fans. Speaking of bummers from Happiness fans, we have Nico's actual pick this week, not the fake out one, that being the 2018 film The House That Jack Built. Please tell us about it.
Alright, so The House That Jack Built is a film that's going over our main character Jack, as he's talking to Virgil, going through hell, just reminiscing about all the great times he spent alive being a fucking murderer.
Fantastic. Fun fact, you kind of already spoiled it, but yeah, the entire sort of casing that the narrative is taking place within is just Dante's Inferno, but they're doing it their way.
Bad fun fact, that was obvious.
Oh yeah? Hey, Dylan and Jackson, did you know that?
No.
Yeah, obviously.
Oh.
I just know about the video
Dylan,
game.
how much do you know about Dante's Inferno?
I know it's a video game, and your main character you play as is Dante, and he comes back to his village after like a holy crusade or something to find it like burned and pillaged. And then he finds his wife making out with the devil or something in like demon form or something, I don't know. And then he goes on a...
It's amazing how many times we can talk about Dante's Inferno and he never internalizes that information. Like, it's probably been brought up minimum 5 times on this podcast by now.
And then he goes on like another holy crusade to kill everything in hell and get his wife back. Or I think he actually ends up killing her. I don't remember. It's one of the two.
Mm-hmm. Like, your YouTube channel name is based off of that, isn't it?
That was for, play on word reasons.
I'm just gonna choose to believe Dylan's punking us.
He could be.
What? Okay. You can do that. I don't care. It doesn't affect me.
I'm sitting at a B.
Whoa.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, I'm not really sure where I want to be putting this one. A B sounds alright, though.
Wow.
So I'll say a B as well. Why not?
Wow.
Yeah, we got two incredibly obtuse films in the same week.
True.
I'm in between a B and a B plus.
Well, if you want to make it two wolves, Tanner, I also gave this movie a B plus.
Whoa.
Wow. Why'd you guys like it so much?
Yeah, what's wrong with you? Are you stupid?
Do you not understand that its metaphors are surface level at best?
I mean, yeah, I definitely, this movie was, I mean, I don't know, maybe it was so obtuse that I thought I understood it, I don't know. I thought it was just a movie. This is probably by far one of the most misogynistic movies we've ever watched. But, I mean, it was interesting following this guy around on his journey, just like, being a compulsive killer, both in the sense of, you know, wanting to murder people, but also having OCD, so it made for an interesting character output. And I thought the concepts it played with were fun, and, like, they were using some fun metaphors and all that kind of stuff. It was pretty engaging, and I was pretty, you know, high up on the movie for quite a while. It kept my attention, it had a great tension and, like, stakes, I suppose. It was very graphic. I'm not a huge fan of graphic, as you guys probably already know at this point, but I'm not gonna say that's a bad movie just because of it. It wasn't, as Nico labels Terrifier, it wasn't gore for gore's sake. It wasn't trying to overshow anything. I will say the one part they may have overdone it is I didn't need to see the lady's face after dragging her behind the van for however long that was. And to be honest, I was gonna rate this movie higher, and then it really fell off hard at the end. I did not like the way they ended it in aspects of just their animation, I guess, or CGI, and just the dialogue and the cinematography. I just didn't like the way the last, like, 10 to 15 minutes of the movie was. I think it would have been fine if they had ended it after he, like, dropped into the fucking sewer grate or whatever the hell. That would have been the perfect place to end it, but no, they did whatever the fuck they did at the end.
Guys, I'm so sorry. The rip I got was dog shit. That last scene, for some reason, had the worst bitrate I've ever fucking seen. It was actually impossible to see anything. It was terrible.
Not necessarily what that was, but
I know, this is unrelated to your claims. This is me just saying, holy fuck, that last scene looked goddamn awful because the bitrate was just fucking terrible.
Terrible.
Yeah. I gotta say, though, Jack kind of went through a glow-up after he started murdering. Like, at the beginning of the film, he looked old as fuck, but then, like, you know, once he started getting out there, killing, got himself some facial hair, he was looking good. He looked like he fucking dropped 20 years right there. He also kind of reminded me of the therapist from Scott the Woz, but, that's kind of neither here nor there. Jackson, what were you trying to say?
Oh, I was going to say, I disagree with Dylan. I actually kind of enjoyed the ending. I think it speaks to what the film was trying to say, especially with, like, him having the really easy solution of, like, potentially trying to, like, redeem himself or something with the stairway up to heaven, and he just chooses not to do it because he's too high on his ego or something. I don't know exactly. There's a lot of subtlety happening within this movie, and he falls down to eat shit and fucking dies in hell like he deserves to. But I think some things I like about the movie is, like, the bluntness of everything. Things just kind of happen. It's interesting, like so unprompted, you know? Like, the second he gets a chance, he fucking takes it with things. Like, he'll just shoot a fucking cop if he does it and just immediately does something, which I think is entertaining. He feels like a kind of unique protagonist because of that, and he was just fun to watch. And I think the acting is really good overall, too. Especially our main guy's performance, I think, was quite good and solid. Some of the sets were pretty solid, too. Especially, like, the fucking... All the scenes with the ice cave. I don't want to fucking say the ice
freezer?
Cave. The freezer room. Yeah, with all the dead bodies. I don't know what. I don't know what the fucking.
I know what I'm naming my walk-in freezer now.
all that talking, all that reading of that happened really fucked my brain.
Oh,
but
okay.
I think all of those were really good, and I think. This is going to sound maybe stupid, but genuinely, I just don't really like the cinematography style with this movie. With, like, the fucking shaky cam and all the close-ups and stuff. It just looks kind of bad to me and took me out of a lot of scenes. I assume they're trying to go for, like, you're, like, viewing into his memories or something kind of vibe, but I don't know. It just looked kind of dumb to me, and I wasn't a huge fan. The film also definitely felt a little long in the tooth for me, especially just because it was pretty slow in, like, what it's trying to present with its ideals. You know, we got a lot of these different scenarios, but I don't feel like any of them were like particularly nuanced enough to justify like an extra half an hour on the runtime or something.
Yeah.
But in general, I'd say it's an enjoyable movie that's maybe a little dense for what it's trying to be, and it ended well enough for me.
Yeah, the like early murders were pretty solid, where like that very first one, it was great seeing that, where it's just like this woman just pissed him off a little too much, so he fucking cleaved her head in. And then the second one was particularly unique for me, just because like it's, you know, you're getting his perspective, like, okay, now he's like actually preemptively trying to kill somebody here. And like when he sees that, oh, it didn't fucking work, he has this moment of like, oh fuck, how do I fix this, I need you to survive, this was bad, I'm sorry. And it's like, I should probably actually kill you though. And like his OCD, just getting that visualized, we're seeing in his mind all these different things play out, where it's like, I mean, what if a big blood splatter got behind that picture frame though? And he's just furiously cleaning everything. That was a really unique insight into that sort of thing. And then just that moment of the rain washing away the fucking blood trail is like, oh my god. Yeah, I mean, I guess you can see why he'd kind of feel like, hey, I can just get away with anything at this point.
I was gonna say, that was probably one of my more favorite parts of the movie. Just, like I said, playing with the concept of an OCD murderer is so interesting. And I'm glad they really dug into it there. I'm glad they didn't do it the whole movie. But I'm glad they dug into it there and showed that off. Also, shout out to that lady. She was like in Men in Black and also had very little screen time. Huge fan of that.
This guy's kill count is crazy. He was fucking slaying people in this movie. He's like one of the most successful serial killers of all time.
And he was publishing it in the newspaper or something, or was that a joke that I missed?
Yeah, he was like sending pictures of his victims and shit.
Fucking crazy stuff, man.
Yeah, that's not too uncommon of a thing with serial killers.
That's fair.
Yeah, it's a really interesting film. It's very well acted. The production, I thought, is really good. They have a lot of locations in this movie, which is pretty impressive for what I assume is probably a fairly low-budget endeavor. My negatives are that it is a little slow, it's a little stupid, and it's kind of pretentious, but also, like, that's the point.
Yeah.
And exploring these themes and whatever are kind of interesting. And it is interesting having this serial killer character where, like, I feel like the two typical serial killers you get are, like, your Ted Bundy, like, oh, he's so suave and calculating type, or, like, a Dahmer, like, nerdy, quiet incel type. And they're like, what if there was a serial killer who's really fucking annoying? You're like, huh, that is interesting. And personally with the ending, I just find it funny that we like end the story and then do 30 minutes of Dante's Inferno. It's silly to me.
It was so funny. Just like once the credits roll, they were playing Hit the Road Jack.
Yeah.
That was little, I mean, in my own defense, because I know Jackson said that he like enjoyed the ending, so you know what, the reason it didn't work for me is because that structure, I mean, I guess, you know, things going over my head here. The structure at the end, I didn't get what that was supposed to represent. Also, it just looked CGI to me. It looked bad. And then, like, just the camera shots of, like, them in the caves and shit was just, like, pointless. And there's, like, to me, meaningless dialogue. Like, I didn't understand what was happening. And then just the CGI of them, like, floating down and, like, all that kind of shit. Like, all that, you know, animation they did at the end just looked bad. And I was like, you had a pretty grounded movie up until this point, and then you do this paranormal, I guess you could call it, shit at the end, and it felt like it brought the movie to a screeching halt, and then it just ruined everything it had going. From my personal experience. Did enjoy the metaphors, though. The metaphors were very cool, but except not the part with the deer and its fawns. That part was sad, and then when I realized what was happening, I got more sad.
That part was quite sad.
Yeah.
On the note of it being like, you know, it being a bit pretentious here, I will say, so, yeah, like, a lot of those scenes where it's just, like, fucking Jack and Virgil spouting, just talking philosophically, just at each other for a while, they did feel a bit too long. Like, I get the idea is that Jack is supposed to be very self-indulgent in these sort of things, in the way in which he's, like, critiquing, like, oh, I'm an artist who's above morality and everything, all this kind of shit. But I did really appreciate the parts where Virgil just, like, calls him out, like, you're stupid, what the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah. Or, like, there was a part, and like I said, I'm not gonna begin like I'm gonna say I understood this movie. There was, like, some part in there where he was like, matter is what is the structure of everything, so that means matter is used to create, but that means if you destroy matter, destruction is also an art of itself, so doesn't that mean destruction is as good as creation? So what's good and what's evil? Or something along those lines. That's kind of where the movie lost me on, like, shit like that. And I wasn't a huge fan of, like, the weird transitions where he was, like, holding the flashcards, or the whatever you want to call them, just flicking them, and it was going through the keywords or whatever you want to say. It was fine every once in a while. They didn't really do it towards the end, which was okay with me. It just felt weird.
I think the big problem there is you don't get what that's a reference to, Dylan.
I don't, and I'm given
it's a reference to the Bob Dylan song, was it Subterranean something blues?
Oh, I've heard of that
I thought it was
song,
like
at
the
least.
Count from Sesame Street.
Shut the fuck up, Nico.
Yeah, maybe if I knew Dante's Inferno or literally any other pop culture reference, maybe I'd understand this movie more.
Yeah, that definitely hampers you quite a bit, because this movie is littered with art references to music and movies and paintings and, like, all kinds of stuff, and poetry, obviously.
Huh.
So your unfamiliarity with all that definitely keeps your understanding of this film at a fairly surface level.
I mean, in regards to that, at least, I gave it a fairly substantial rating outside of that even, so, you know, I at least got that going for me or whatever.
And that might make sense, because I did catch a lot of the references. I was like, okay, buddy, like, come the fuck on. Stop jerking yourself off over how good your art taste is.
Yeah, we all know about Plato's Cave, okay?
Is Dante's Inferno, like, that common that people just know it? Like, I feel like I should have...
Yeah. It's a very common reference point for people in, you know, the Western world.
If
basically
I play the
any
game,
type
is
of
that the
medium
same?
that involves the concept of hell is some reference to Dante's Inferno, like 90% of the time.
Diablo?
Yeah.
I played plenty of Diablo, I still don't get it personally. I might just have to go pick up a 360 copy of Dante's Inferno and blast through that shit.
No,
He's
well,
punking us.
that
He's
one-
punking us.
He's punking us. Yeah.
What are you talking? But what do you mean?
Dante's Inferno is an Italian poem from, like, the 14th century that basically invented the entire mythos of what, like, Christians believe hell is like.
But isn't it also a
The
book?
video game is based on that poem.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
so if
it's
I played
Dante's Divine Comedy.
Yeah. If I consume any of those medias, it should be fine. If it's just based on the poem, then is. I mean, the video game is going to give me a visual representation, you know? I have imagination.
That's
but,
under the
like,
assumption
you know,
that it is accurate in any sense of the word.
I don't
I've
fucking
played
know.
through the game. It certainly takes its creative liberties.
Yeah, you might be surprised to find this, but in the original poem, there isn't hack and slash action.
Damn, you're probably right. Maybe I should just go read the poem or something. Wait, how
So
long
about
is the
the
poem?
movie,
I don't have a fucking clue, to be honest.
I have nothing else.
yeah, I don't either. It's an entertaining movie. It's a little long in the tooth.
Yeah, I was gonna say
I
a little
agree.
long.
2.5 hours is rough, man. I was like an hour and a half in, and then I checked the time, and I was like, shit. There's a
Yeah.
fucking hour still. That's crazy.
Yeah.
You say that, but this podcast episode is longer than that movie, so how long could it really be?
Guys, if you're still
Listen.
sticking around, we love you, baby.
Yeah, hell yeah. all
Please
you
like, comment,
people out
subscribe
there.
right now. Ring that bell, please. Please turn on your notifications.
Please.
Follow us on Patreon.
Yeah, future me.
Guys, I'm sticking
you
at my
already did
B.
that, so don't worry about it. I'm gonna stick with my B+. I don't know what else to say.
I'm thinking I'll stick by my B.
Okay.
I think I'll go ahead and join you guys at your flat B.
No.
Here we go.
Can't be two wolves if you don't vote B+.
And the lands at a B overall. Honestly, shockingly non-contentious week. We were all basically right there with each other.
Yeah.
Just like literally everybody was just plus or minus one rank from each other.
And that's crazy because we watched a film that's basically like Happiness, which I didn't get reprimanded for, whatever the hell you want to call it. And we watched a film I had no contextual bearing on. This is truly incredible. We're making strides.
Let's review Happiness again right now so we can reprimand Dylan.
No. Speaking of films, Dylan did in fact watch a fourth movie this week. I don't know, do you feel like having separate thoughts laid out for the podcast on the Chainsaw Man movie Ree's arc now, or do you just want to give like a fucking rank for it?
I'll lay out a couple of thoughts and I'll give my rank. Well, I'll do it in reverse order, but yeah, I gave Chainsaw Man movie Ree's arc an S. Me and Jackson had been watching Chainsaw Man pretty consistently over the past couple of weeks in lieu leading up to watching the movie. I enjoy the animation style.
And how do you like Chainsaw Man?
I think Chainsaw Man's great. I think it's really fun. And it's got interesting concepts it explores, and it's got a powering system that makes zero sense, but sometimes it's the stuff you don't explain that makes it fun.
The power system is what makes Chainsaw Man so silly, is that just anything can happen at any given moment. It's just complete abject chaos.
Yeah.
I mean, they seem to spell it out pretty clearly. That it's just like, the more...
The power system, I guess, maybe is the wrong word for it. It's more what people do with the power system. Like, anybody can have any fucking power. Some devils can have, like, some absurdly broken shit, and somebody can just have a contract with that devil. So that's what I'm trying to say, is, like, they can use it in so creative of, ways that it just makes it completely unpredictable, largely.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, so, as there's a reference to, maybe the summary or whatever, this movie obviously ends the Chainsaw Man first season. They do a lot of catching up. They kind of just show what's happening, as time passes, and they're just exploring, I guess, Denji's life or something, and, he's still the target of everybody. As soon as Reese popped on screen, I got really bad vibes, and that's like the discussion with Himiko Toga that you guys probably saw in the general chat. I just looked in her eyes, and I'm like, this chick's evil, but I'm curious to see where this goes, and they paint her character very well. And I'm not a huge, like, in most cases, I'm not a huge of, like, a redemption thing where it's like, this character's evil, but they're being good to try to coax people, and then they obviously do a betrayal, and then there's a big, huge fallout, and then, like, at the end of it all, they try to redeem it by, like, oh, maybe this person's not so bad. And I think this movie did that really well. I think it made some pretty good emotional connections. And the animation and everything in this is fucking crazy. There's shit going on all the time. I'm not gonna say the fight lasted like the entirety of the movie, but like the conflict that ensued because of like everything. And it didn't feel like it went on that long. There was enough breaks and like not constant combat, and just the silliness that Denji's character is, and like the Shark Man and all that. And just interesting to see how these events play out. And honestly, when we got to the beach scene, I was very confused, just because there should have been something there, and I think it just goes to show towards Denji's like innocence as like he's fucking 16, and he just wants to give her another chance. He fell in love with her on first sight, and he just wants it to work out, but he's conflicted emotionally. And I'm not gonna lie, because I was talking to Jackson about this yesterday, and I was like, I'm still fucked up about the ending, because, like, I wanted to believe that she was gonna turn around, but, then Makima comes in, and there's, like, I made a weird connection between Makima and Reese, and, like, how they're effectively the same, like, acting under the same emotions, basically. They both have emotional goals emotional goals is probably the wrong word for it, but, like, involving Denji, like, what Reese was doing is, like, what Makima feels like she's trying to do, so it's a bit suspicious that Makima feels the need to take her out and, kill her and make sure she doesn't meet Denji, and he was there waiting. And it didn't make me cry, but I had a very deep sense of sorrow, and I felt really bad for him. And then, of course, power comes in and ensues the dynamic that they've had throughout the entire anime. But yeah, I, really liked it. It was a very enjoyable watch.
Based. Anyways, that S rank does in fact bump up the film. It was previously at an A, now it is at an A+.
Let's go.
How exciting.
Fantastic. It was a pretty good little flick, wasn't it?
Tanner, you think that Josei the Tiger and the Fish is better than the Chainsaw Man movie? You fucking retard. You fucking idiot. You piece of shit.
Yikes.
He is
Dude, I just emotionally resonated with that film so much more.
You just like crippled
Tanner
women.
likes the idea of pushing around a girl in a wheelchair.
Crippled women. Crazy shit.
Do I feel like a man when I push her around?
And he doesn't think he could push around Reed. He thinks that Reed would fucking kill him, so that's
You
why he
guys
doesn't
choose
like it.
your fecking movies.
I guess so.
Guys, I want you guys to choose my fucking movie, 2003 or 2022.
What was the year, Nico? What was the year?
Yeah, 2003 is the one to avoid. I'm gonna go
Yeah, not
2022.
So, yeah, the other one.
22.
Guys, we're watching the 2022 film One Piece Film Red.
No way! I'm gonna fucking love this movie. It has my favorite artist in it.
I'm gonna fucking pog.
I just did.
It's been so long since we've seen a One Piece film.
And
Guys,
whose fault is that, buddy?
funnily enough, I picked 2003 at random. I didn't even connect it to that being the bad year.
Fuck.
The 2003 movie was Biker Boys,
Okay.
which is some really
Damn
bad
it.
motorcycle racing movie.
We reminded him. This is truly sad.
Next week, though.
No.
Yeah, just keep putting bad movies in 2003. Dylan, what movie are you picking?
I feel like this number it's landed on this number so many times. Let me see. 197. Oh shit. Not that one. Oh, we are going to be watching the first installment of Terminator. We haven't watched that one, have we?
No, we've
We
seen it
have.
first. We need to see the
have.
second.
We have seen
So we're
the
doing
first one.
Terminator 2?
Terminator
Judgment
2,
Day?
Judgment Day. I didn't know we
Fucking
watched the first one.
hyped.
My list is longer than it should be.
Whoa!
What about our Patreon pick?
We do. Our Patreon pick is actually one of the oldest ones we've had. Not Rocky 3, of course. We're never picking that one. We got The
my
Pianist,
God.
the 2002 film requested by Lavaskin. Thank you for the request.
What the fuck? Do we have 3 good movies this week?
Hot damn. Dude, I
don't know.
so hecking hyped for this. And if you too would like to request a film just like our patron Lavaskin did, then you can just head on over to guapish.com/Patreon or patreon.com/Guapish, where you'll get access to early episodes. Not only that, but you will also be getting pre-Guaps. That's our little pre-show that we do around here. You can also get Discord access so you can chat with us, tell us all about how much you love Chainsaw Man Rees or hate it. You know, we're open to bad opinions too. You can request movies and topics. You also get 500 slime coins. It's not a cryptocurrency, it's just a silly little thing that we do. But of course, you also get your name read out at the end of every single episode, just like I'm gonna do right now. Thank you very much to Learning Spanish so I can colonize Chel's Gatito. Okay. Chel's Gatito, ain't that funny? Slayed by Jay, Blake, Netagant, I Love Lesbians, I Got Turned Into the Fucking Chimney on Jack's House, Tutbot, Luke Sledette, Hunter, and Jacob Edwards. Thank you very much, folks. And if you enjoyed it, feel free to like, comment, subscribe, ring that bell. We will be seeing you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Later.